It's prime time to add Aflac.
Request a call today at aflac.com/prime.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's 200th store with the entire Bob's family across the country.
So stop in for the latest styles
and top-notch features
at mind-blowing prices
and free treats for the whole family in our cafe.
Oh, my Bob!
When it's time to start your business, it's time for Shopify. Design with easy-to-customize themes, sell everywhere people shop, and never miss a sale with the world's best converting checkout. See why millions of businesses sell with Shopify. Start your free trial today.
In this collection, we have 3 new styles of leggings that have never been done before. All the leggings are going to give you the butt you've always wanted. No squats required. Get 80% off of my collection when you sign up and become a new Fabletics VIP member.
The recipe for a long, healthy life? It starts with gently cooking our food to give your dog the nutrients they need without the ultra-processing. Get 50% off your first box only at thefarmersdog.com.
When expectations are high, there's no room for uncertainty. To maximize impact, your logo needs to look great, on the right gear, and arrive on time. And that starts with 4imprint. To get your brand noticed, visit 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Thanks for calling Consumer Cellular, ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction.
Hi, my friend Linda has you guys and gets way better coverage than I do.
Sounds like Linda has you beat.
Not at bowling.
You're breaking up a little.
Are you really ranked #1 in coverage?
Yep. And plans start at just $20.
Oh, we could afford lessons for Linda. You're embarrassing yourself.
At least my phone works.
Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage satisfaction. Call or visit Consumer Cellular today.
Don't miss a members-only event.
You want to trade? We may not be for you. You want to invest? Come to the right place.
Join the CNBC Investing Club to access Jim's monthly meeting. Go to cnbc.com/monthly meeting. And now the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. What was the first feature-length motion picture with synchronized sound? The answer, The Jazz Singer, which was released in 1927.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. President Trump signing an executive order entitled Enabling Competition in the Commercial Space Industry. That order aimed at expediting innovation and streamlining regulation. Joining us right now on this and so much more. I want to talk about what's going on at the FAA and planes and all of that. Transportation Secretary and Acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy. Mr. Secretary, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You want to talk space or you want to talk planes first, sir?
You call the ball. Let me know what you want to talk about, Andrew.
I want to go planes first, just because, when we told people that you were going to be on, I got a whole slew of texts and people sending stuff over X saying, where are you really when it comes to hiring as many people as I know you've been trying to in terms of traffic control and all the work that you've been doing on that front? If you could just give us almost an update status report.
Yeah, just real quick, there's 2 parts of it. We have to update all of the infrastructure and technology around air traffic control. That's one problem. We got $12.5 billion in the big, beautiful bill. A down payment, we're going to need $31.5 billion to do the whole job, which, by the way, for the Congress is Trump change. It's a really great investment. The return will be 10 or 20x on what money we put into air traffic control. But in regard to controllers, if you're flying over the summer, it could be weather, it could be mechanical, but a lot of times it's that we don't have enough controllers on the job. And so what we've done is said, hey, we have to bring more controllers into our academy. We've streamlined the process, the application process, to get more controllers in, number one. Number two, we're taking the best qualified candidates on the entrance exam and putting them in the academy first. Andrew, we have a 35% washout rate at the academy. So we're losing a lot of our kids. And by the way, I'm okay with a washout rate. That's fine. But let's get the best young people in there so they can get through the program, take the final test, and get into a tower and get trained up and get certified. So that process is underway. I've also offered controllers, after 25 years, they get to retire. Many of them are retiring at 48, 52 years old. I'm offering them a 20% upfront bonus, cash, to stay on and keep working for us. And it's going to be nibbles, bits and pieces that we're working on that is going to make up this 3,000 controller deficit that we have right now, as well as we're going to relook at how we're moving controllers throughout the airspace and make sure we have the right people in the right places to alleviate some of the delays that Americans are feeling as they're traveling, especially in the summer.
Mr. Secretary, tell me this, and maybe it's the algo, the For Me algo on X and Instagram and TikTok and this and that, but I get sent, I don't know if you do, Joe, so many more videos, maybe it's that more people have their phones out, of these sort of near-miss incidents. Yeah. And you constantly see these reports in a way that I don't think I saw before years ago. And what I don't know, is that a function of more people with their phone out, or is that a function of there really are that many more near-miss incidents these days?
Well, listen, I think it's a function of maybe both, right? I think we're seeing more of it. But also, I mean, there's two things at play. Number one, we have to have our pilots that pay attention, right? And again, when we're on tarmacs and you have these near misses as planes are taxiing, it's like almost driving a car. You got to stay away from the planes that are around you. And again, a lot of that goes to pilot error. But we are going to put sensors on our busiest runways so our air traffic controllers can see planes. And if they get close, they can warn them and more actively control them, number one. But the near misses as well on runways. The one in Chicago with the Southwest airplane, and I think it was a FlexJet aircraft that was crossing an active runway. You know, listen, unacceptable, untenable, partial pilot error, but also the new technology that we're going to be able to deploy in our brand new air traffic control system will help alleviate it. And Andrew, think about this. We have drones that are going to enter into the airspace, the eVTOLs, the vertical lift, Ubers in the air. All of that's going to make our airspace more complicated. So we need a far different system, far different software to navigate the space, make it more efficient, but it's also going to make it safer as well.
Okay, this was not actually on my question list, but since you went to eVTOLs, it made me think of something, which was there was a piece in the New York Times over the weekend. It was an op-ed editorial piece about taxes, actually, on commercial planes, on private planes, and now we're going to have eVTOLs soon. And the argument being made in that piece, if I recall, was that effectively private aviation represents something like 7% of the planes in the sky, but between the fuel charges and everything else, fuel taxes and everything else, only represent effectively 1% of the taxed revenue relative to the commercial flights. And there's always been a big debate about that. And I'm curious where you land on that issue and how you think about it, especially as the skies are going to be opened up and even more democratized. And I imagine there'll be even more, therefore, quote unquote, private flights, if you will, in the sky in the future.
Well, listen, I think it's how we use the airspace, right? So if we're using terminals that cost billions of dollars and you're an airline, I think you're going to pay a higher tax and higher rates as you use those facilities. Oftentimes, private aviation isn't using the massive infrastructure around airports. You're using far less of that. Again, I'm going to leave that to the Congress, Andrew. They're going to figure this out. But I do think everyone who's using the airspace should help pay for it, and oftentimes they're doing that through their fuel tax.
I think the question, at least as I read it, was should the charges effectively be based on planes versus people, if you will, which is to say that if you're an air traffic controller, if it's a commercial flight or a private flight, it doesn't matter to you. That plane has to land and that plane has to take off. And effectively, should they be paying something somewhat similar, even if one's carrying 300 people and one's carrying 4 people, because it still requires the same amount of people, if you will, in air traffic control and the other folks to service that plane. Now, that's different, I agree, than the terminals, and that's a separate story.
So if you're flying your Gulfstream, Andrew, and there's a lot of infrastructure around taking off and landing your plane. With an eVTOL, right, it's electric, and it is a smaller pad, way smaller infrastructure around how I launch and land that vehicle. And so the structure on what you pay for is going to be way different. And I think we have to take that into account. So I don't think we want to tax people. I think we look at the infrastructure that's used, whether it's through air traffic control, or through the infrastructure on airports or landing and launch pads. That cost differential is significant.
What do you think about privatizing all of this?
Listen,
Other countries have done that.
It's a great question. So we took that up in President Trump's first term. I was in Congress during that debate. It didn't pass. I have virtually all of industry, groups that don't always agree on air traffic control are all agreeing that this has to get done. I'm not wading into privatizing air traffic control. I have a group together that's going to take on a huge build. And I need everybody on board for that. If the Congress wants to consider that after we're done and I'm long gone, so be it. But right now, I think the Congress has to make this investment. And if there's a conversation around privatization, again, I'll be on the beach somewhere, Andrew, but I'll be out of the DOT by then because it's going to take us the next 3.5, 4 years to get this bill completed.
Mr. Secretary, how was the department when you got there? I asked AI different things. And you ask how did Secretary Buttigieg leave the department? They say in pretty good shape. That's what AI said. He a lot of infrastructure programs that he put together. He might run for president. Could he run on his record at the Department of as Transportation Secretary in your view? I know this.
No,
I know what answer to expect.
So let me tell you why. A lot of people, when they have a job, they use that job to run for a different office. And I think that's a huge mistake. And I think Mayor Pete was, Secretary Buttigieg was running for president while he was the Secretary of DOT and didn't pay attention to the basics. And so he had a focus truly on DEI and climate and the cost of that to the American people. And again, everybody wants their roads and bridges, Democrats and Republicans in states and districts around this country. They want their infrastructure. We diminished the tax dollar that could build roads and bridges because he put all of these constraints around it because he was running for president. In regard to air traffic control, I inherited a system that was dilapidated. And so we have to step in and recognize what they didn't do and fix it. Pete Buttigieg should have seen that and should have started the process before I got there. But instead, he was out campaigning. And again, when you're focused on changing the names of cockpit to flight deck or airman to aeronaut because you're concerned you could offend someone, all the while you have 84 near misses in the Washington, D.C. airspace between helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, and you don't look at that, I don't know how you're going to run for president on that record. You didn't do your job. And had he done his job, we wouldn't have inherited all of the problems that we have right now that are going to take years to fix. He could have got a 4-year jump on us, and he didn't do that. And so, no, I don't think this is a record he can run on. They squandered $80 billion on DEI and climate crap.
Do you think that some bridges and highways are racist? I asked that. Did he really say that? And yes, he really did say that some of these.
No, listen, I want to be fair to him on that. There was back in the '60s, were there roads and bridges that divided communities? Yeah, but it happened around the country as we were building an infrastructure around the country with highways and bridges. But were they racist? No. And I think, again, it's playing to the left-wing political base to get favor for a presidential run. And that's the problem. And when you look at what I inherited, and to say that Pete Buttigieg could run on that record, I don't think he can.
What happened with the charging stations?
You know what? That is a great. When I was interviewing for the job with the Senate, I asked them, this is $7 billion to build charging stations around the country, and you built 84. The problem, Joe, is, as you know, if you put all these rules and regulations in place and then send the money out, the end user, the states that were trying to build the infrastructure, couldn't comply with all the crazy rules on DEI and green that Pete had put into the project. And so what I've said is, I'm going to take that garbage away. And if the money's still there, we're actually going to build charging stations. If the American people, and by the way, I disagree with that policy. I don't think we should build them. But the Congress gave the money. And if they gave the money and we're going to spend the money, let's give the American people charging stations for the $7 billion, not a green hit list that you can run on when you launch your campaign for president.
Okay, I want to get to space. We're still on the ground, then we're in the air, but we're not all the way to the moon yet. Okay, so you're trying to get to the moon. I know. We can talk about whether we should be trying to get to the moon. I want to know, in the EO, there's a line that says that there are effectively states, and this is going to help you, that are hindering spaceport infrastructure development. What does that mean? Who is doing that?
Well, listen, what we want to do is have spaceports around the country that make sense for the private sector. By the way, today was the 1,000th private launch that's taken place. That's taken 35 years. We're going to get to the second 1,000 in less than 5 years because of President Trump's executive order. And so, again, when we developed this technology, right, we're launching it into space with our corporate partners, that we had 100% of the business. Now we have 60% of the business because we have too many rules and regulations, whether it's from Commerce or FAA or NASA. We're trying to streamline that process, speak as one government, make it easier to launch out of America so we don't have flights going, whether they're to China or to Russia or to New Zealand or to Europe. We want all the launches to happen here. We want to keep that industry in America. And so that was the purpose behind the EO. And again, we want to look for great places. And again, the president could have been talking about California in regard to the feud with Elon and their lack of desire to permit some of the launches. But we got to work with willing partners. You got to want this infrastructure and these jobs in your community. Which, by the way, think of, so we talk about space, and again, it has democratized. I mean, if you have a great idea, either Joe or Andrew, and you're like, listen, I have a satellite that I want to put into space, you couldn't have done that 15 years ago. But now for a little over $1 million, you can get your satellite into space because of the innovation that's taken place with SpaceX and Blue Origin and others. It's pretty remarkable what's happening. We want to make sure that continues, but is also American.
Help us understand this piece of it, which is competition to space, which is right now a large majority of those satellites are going up on SpaceX aircraft at the moment. Obviously, Blue Origin getting into that space, and there's a couple of others behind that. Yep. But how do you sort of even see the competitive landscape right now?
In the sense of the corporate competition, I mean, listen.
Corporate competition, because while there's a couple of players around, on the whole, if you really just look at the numbers, it is Elon Musk and Elon Musk.
And Elon Musk, Listen, SpaceX is wildly impressive. But I think it's critical that we make sure we treat everyone fairly, and we want a robust set of companies that are launching into space. Competition drives price down, it drives innovation, and so that's what we want to see at NASA. And I don't think you have to attack SpaceX or you have to prop up Blue Origin. I think we have to treat them all fairly and give them equitable access to our launch pads and to our licensing. And by doing that, I think you're going to see, again, a lot of companies catch where Elon's at with SpaceX. And again, that's a good thing for the market.
Secretary Duffy, always good to talk to you. We really appreciate you joining us. Hope to see you in the skies and maybe on the ground. And you know, we think of him as airplanes, but then you got to think we didn't get to talk robo-taxis and everything else. You could go that way with him. There's so many things going on. Thank you, sir. When we come back, a lot more on Squawk Box and some big numbers coming up at 8:30 that could move the market. Don't go anywhere.
Meet Luke and Jason from Fire Department Coffee. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart along the way.
We make coffee that supports our community.
And Walmart's played a big part. You know most of what Walmart spends goes to products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S.?
So we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew?
Now you know, Jerry.
And that is how you brew a mighty fine American business.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
At Interactive Brokers, independent RIAs work with the best research and trading tools designed to help them outperform the markets. Meet them at Interactive Brokers Investors Marketplace for advisors. Advisors at Interactive Brokers keep all they earn on our low-cost platform, with no ticket fees or custody charges, low margin rates, and high interest earned on idle cash. To get better results, get a better platform. The best informed investors choose Interactive Brokers.
does confidence come from? It's not from within. It must be pursued. Confidence is not a mindset. It's an achievement. In the GMC Sierra HD AT4X. Get 5.9% APR on GMC Sierra heavy-duty models. That's over $4,000 in average finance savings.
Connection lost.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
To the end zone for the touchdown.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. OpenAI turning up the heat for competitors in the very lucrative market for these folks. Mackenzie joins us with more. What's happening? How much money can people even spend for these people anymore?
Quite a lot, as we're seeing with all these new valuations coming in every other day now. But Sam Altman, he really turned OpenAI into a cultural force with ChatGPT, but now he's chasing enterprise, which is where the real money is. GPT-5 is at the center of that push. So yes, the rollout was messy, but the upgrade was never really about the average user. It's meant for high-ticket corporate buyers, the ones who have long relied on Anthropic for their coding needs. Now, a source familiar with internal data says that since launch, API usage has more than doubled. It's handling twice as much coding and agent building work, with reasoning use cases up 8-fold. Now, startups like Cursor and Versal have made GPT-5 the default in certain products and workflows, especially for tasks like code generation and front-end design. Now, several told me that it's fast to integrate, more reliable on complex steps, and dramatically cheaper than the alternatives. You got GPT-5 costing up to 7.5 times less than Claude for some enterprise workloads, which is certainly enough to rethink old loyalties. And that momentum puts pressure on Anthropic, which gets 80% of its revenue from businesses. Anthropic, though, still scaling fast in enterprise, with that revenue up 17x year over year, thanks to massive multi-product deals with names like Amazon. Andrew?
You know, we heard about the Cursor piece of this, obviously on the enterprise side for coding, now moving from being, really based on Anthropic, is going to move to ChatGPT-5. But now you hear a lot of folks on X and other places saying, well, we don't think ChatGPT-5 is as good as we thought it was going to be. Is there second guessing going on here?
Well, what was fascinating is Cursor, as you said, one of Anthropic's big customers. They still have an ongoing revenue agreement, and it's still the default for existing customers. It's just that new users to the platform will have GPT-5 as a default. But the fact that the CEO got on stage during OpenAI's live stream calling GPT-5 the smartest coding model we've ever tried, that's certainly a big symbolic gesture here. But to your point, what's fascinating is that actually a lot of the upgrades that got this blowback on the consumer-facing side, the chatbot-facing side, are precisely the features that make it better for coders. Things that are developer tasks like debugging, code generation, interface design, multi-step planning. That's all a product of some of these architectural shifts. But on the consumer-facing side, it's just clunkier.
Kenzie, I want to thank you. Thank you for waking up early, too. Appreciate it.
And coming up, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on everything from the state of the Democratic Party to the race for mayor in New York City. That's at 8:10 Eastern Time. Squawk Box coming right back.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
The premiums were getting unreasonable.
We just didn't need the coverage anymore. Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
I know how to make slick-looking goggles/glasses, but I have no idea how to make slick-looking social media stuff.
But GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create social content out of thin air, like this one.
Walton Goggins goggle glasses are great gifts for all guys and gals.
This collection is all about full flavor fits. It shows up in the designs, the colors, and the vibe. Everything is on sale. New VIPs get 80% off their first order. Shop online and in stores before it's...
Style or substance. Somehow, it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Or get 0% APR on select Sierra 1500 models. That's over $4,300 in average finance savings.
See your North Texas GMC dealers.
Travel can be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo. Skip the rental counter with Turo. Rent just about any car, just about anywhere.
Coming up, Apple in rally mode. Shares of the iPhone maker up more than 12% in August. Take a look at that latest move and some other tech names that you can watch. Squawk Box coming right back.
September 16th, CNBC teams up with two-time NBA champion Kevin Durant and Boardroom for Game Plan, exploring the business of sports, music, and entertainment. Register now at cnbcevents.com/gameplan.
To have gold coins in my possession, that hard asset is insurance, you might say, against the paper dollar. It's not for my insurance, but it's for my daughters and the grandchildren's insurance. Whereas keeping a lot of cash in your bank account can really almost end up being nothing. You have to keep cash, but you don't have to keep everything in cash, and you don't have to put everything in the stock market, and you don't have to put it all in a bond market. You do a little bit of everything. In fact, I sleep better with gold than I do with the stock market because it's tangible. It's there.
If you've bought gold in the past or would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, pick up the phone and call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, which will provide you with important, never-seen-before facts you should know about making gold, silver, and platinum purchases.
Call now to also receive our new 2025 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone. U.S. Money Reserve can walk you through the 3 simple steps of transferring your existing 401k or IRA into a precious metals IRA backed by physical gold to further protect your assets from market instability. Pick up the phone and call U.S. Money Reserve, America's gold authority, right now to get your free gold kit and IRA information, including the 3 simple steps for transferring your existing 401k, 403b, and traditional IRA. With more than 2 decades in business, over $3 billion in transactions, and more than 1 million clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
I never considered myself an alcoholic, but drinking affected my job, health, and relationships. A powerful medication helped me take back control. Now I no longer feel the urge to drink, and the same pill that helped me could help you. Text TV to 710-710 to learn more.
Squawk Picks is sponsored by Wisdom Tree. Welcome to the future of investing.
Just before 8 a.m. on the East Coast, you're watching Squawk Box on CNBC. I'm Joe Kernan along with Andrew Ross Sorkin. And big hour. It is a big hour. We have
8:30.
One of the leaders.
Be there, be square.
Yeah, one of the leaders of
Hakeem
Congress.
Jeffries is also big.
Minority leader. And who else we got? We got PPI.
Yeah, I'm saying numbers.
Oh, you're talking about numbers?
I was talking numbers.
Don't discount the leader.
No, we got a lot going on.
We do. There's the expected range that you saw. Also, we are in the green now after some new highs set on two of those, the S&P and the NASDAQ. Dow Jones playing catch up a little bit. Catch up. That's the two tomatoes following their mother. They're lagging behind. She says catch up. Go ahead.
I want to get over to Frank Holland with a look at this morning's pre-market movers. Frank, laugh at Joe's jokes, please.
Dad joke, Frank.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. You got to give Joe a little something. But right now, we're going to give you your earnings movers. We're going to go back to Cisco. We hit this earlier. Now Cisco hitting its lows this morning, down about 1.25%. This is following beats across the board in fiscal Q4. Full year was largely in line. We're talking about guidance. But Piper Sandler out with a note this morning saying that guidance was actually below what the bulls were hoping to see. CEO Chuck Robbins touting the company's AI infrastructure orders as double the original target for fiscal 2025. Again, shares down about 1.33%. Be sure to join us at 9:15 a.m. Eastern on Squawk on the Street, where CEO Chuck Robbins is going to be there to talk the quarter, AI, tariffs, I'm sure just about everything. All right, moving on. AMD shares, they're in the red this morning despite being named to B of A's US 1 list. It's this list of best investment ideas. Take a look. AMD pulling back about 0.75%. It now joins names like Walmart, Goldman Sachs, and of course its biggest competitor, NVIDIA, which has been on that same list since June. Marriott was actually removed from the list. Again, shares of AMD down, well, now just about 1%, but year to date up just about 30%. We're also finishing off with a check of yesterday's huge IPO. Of course, that's bullish, the owner of CoinDesk, surging in the pre-market. Right now, you see shares are up over 13% in the pre-market, but still below the highs that it hit right after it began trading. It's still more than double its IPO price of $37, which is already above its expected range of 32 to 33 a share. That offering was also upsized from slightly more than 20 million to 30 million shares, and it's just the latest in a slew of companies that have surged after going public. We're talking names like Circle and Corey. Take a look at this chart, though. Huge surge after it went public, moved down a bit, but still right now you can see shares are up just about 13.5%. Joe, back over to you.
All right, Frank, thanks. Apple shares have been picking up some steam. In August, up nearly 13%. Company reportedly beefing up its AI offerings with new consumer devices. Join us now, Tony Wong, T. Rowe Price portfolio manager. Did you ever waffle, Tony? Did you ever think, wow, this is different this time for Apple when it was pulling back a little bit? That's always been a mistake.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you have to think that Apple is still the ecosystem provider. Everyone is still using iPhones. As long as people aren't leaving the ecosystem, it continues to have a lot of optionality. And I think, they don't have to be first to market, and often they aren't, but they often refine the product and deliver a really good experience. So I think that's what Apple's trying to do here.
One of the things that you mentioned is the cost of intelligence is basically going to zero. That if it costs nothing, how do you make money? What's the implication for all these companies then?
Yeah, I think that's what is going to be really interesting is that the cost of intelligence, I think, is going to zero. When you think about what you need to hire a bunch of technical engineers or a lot of salespeople, now can be done with agents and vibe coding. And so I think that's going to be a big change here is that, the existing companies need to retool their business models, and it's going to create a lot of new entrants. You're seeing that in the private markets, a lot of new software companies. And I think going forward, it's going to expand a lot of creativity. It's going to be the best idea wins. And so I think it's going to be an exciting new kind of innovation cycle that we're heading into.
So Apple's got a lot going for it. You figure it'll be okay in terms of AI, even if it's a little behind. Who's ahead right now? We have that discussion a lot, and there's a piece in the Journal today that a little bit of, I guess, disappointment about GPT-5 and others. What's your favorite?
Yeah, I think Apple still has a play here. I think they can do a lot, in terms of, potentially partnerships, M&A. They said they were more open to that, I think, on the last call. And they have a lot of capital to deploy here and ability to integrate into their products. And so I think that they still have a lot of ways to deliver really premium experiences on the AI front. In terms of who I think is leading, I think that ChatGPT is really kind of breaking away from the pack in terms of usage, the personalized experience, the amount of capital they're raising. But it's going to be, there's going to be multiple models that I think that do well. I think Anthropic on the coding side So, I don't think that's going to be one model rule them all, but in terms of like consumer engagement, definitely ChatGPT is like off the charts here.
So if consumer products come from all this AI, is Apple in a position to lead as well for, I don't know, home security AI robots, whatever you can come up with? I figure Tim Cook is probably thinking about it.
Yeah, well, what's exciting about this AI space race is that, I think about it as the space race is going to multiple moons. It's not just one use case. You think about robotics, I think Tesla is going to that one, and autonomous driving. I think Apple's really, more focused on delivering personal premium experiences on the kind of, iPhone side or mobile computing side. And I think they have a lot of different TAMs they can go into, but they don't have to go into autonomous driving, for example. And they have a big opportunity within, personal computing. So I think about it as like a lot of different avenues, a lot of different swim lanes. And, that's what's exciting, I think, about each of these large companies that they can roll out AI to their consumer base.
Okay. Tony, thank you. We're going to end it there. We have the leader of Minority Leader Jeffries waiting, so we're going to head there next, I think.
You bet. Thanks. Coming up, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on the state of the Democratic Party, the president's handling of the economy, and so much more. And then at 8:30 this morning, another piece of inflation data. We're going to get it. The July Producer Price Index is going to be out along with jobless claims. Stay tuned. You're watching Squawk Box on CNBC.
I can't wait to see their faces when we come out.
What seems to be the problem, soldier?
The belly's full of Greeks.
Sneaky cowards.
Innovation changes everything.
Send it back!
With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
When I started Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses, I needed a website. And GoDaddy Aero uses AI to make a beautiful website so fast it'll blow my customers' noggins while they're shopping for Goggins for their noggins.
We're Public Rec. For guys who don't do fussy or fashiony, stretchy, breathable, and built to fit. It's a cheat code for looking good, minus the effort. Stay you. We'll keep you comfortable while you do it.
You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Consumer Cellular knows there are a lot of offers flying around, but they slip away too fast. We don't play games. What you see is what you get. Bet you're glad you wore cargo pants. See how we can cut your bill. Call Consumer Cellular.
Hi, I'm Josh Brown, one of the original contributors to CNBC's Halftime Report. Don't miss my list of the best stocks in the market exclusively for CNBC Pro.
Join Pro for exclusive access to Josh Brown's best stocks in the market.
Get a large two-topping Crazy Crust pizza for $6.99 from Little Caesars. Look at that buttery flavored garlic spread sprinkled with Parmesan. Try Crazy Crust for $6.99 for a limited time.
Pizza, pizza.
But wait, I need to mention how there's over a dozen toppings to choose from.
Pizza, pizza.
But wait, I want to reiterate how legit this Crazy Crust is. It's good. Little Caesars is the real deal.
Pizza, pizza.
But wait! Gotcha!
What a hotel.
Right? And only $250 a night for my favorite site. What?
You didn't check Trivago.
I got mine for $155. You have to check Trivago.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
On Trivago, you can compare hotel prices from multiple different sites.
Even your favorite one.
Look, same hotel, $100 less.
You didn't check Trivago?
I didn't check Trivago.
Check Trivago to compare prices and save up to 40%. Hotel? Trivago.
Welcome back to to Squawk Box. Join us right now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. There is so much to talk to you about this morning, about everything that's going on in Washington, about the BLS, the Fed. We could talk about NVIDIA, Democratic Party, but I want to start with this. And by the way, mea culpa on me too, but I'm curious where you land. For the last several months, the Democratic Party, for the most part, has been publicly suggesting that because of these tariffs, that the economy was going to falter, that there was going to be a massive recession. And for whatever reason, that has not happened. And I'm curious why you think that hasn't happened and whether you think it was a mistake to be as critical as you have been.
Well, good morning. Great to be with you. Donald Trump promised on day one that costs were going to go down. Costs haven't gone down. They've gone up. What we have seen, in fact, is job creation go down almost to record low levels. And so there is reason to believe that the economy is not moving in the right direction. The erratic tariff policies have created a great deal of uncertainty in the business environment. And uncertainty, of course, doesn't allow for the type of explosive economic growth that we will all like to see here in the United States of America. I think there's no real basis to conclude that Donald Trump has been successful, particularly as it relates to the core issue of driving down the high cost of living in the United States of America, which is too high, which was his fundamental promise to the American people. Costs aren't going down, they're going up.
But are you surprised? I'm just asking, just as a person, are you surprised that the tariffs haven't had a bigger impact on prices, for example?
I think it remains to be seen where this is headed. I'm deeply concerned that the tariffs are going to exacerbate the inflationary challenges that we already have in the United States of America, the affordability issues that we have in the United States of America, particularly as it relates to consumer goods and consumer goods that are going to be important to the American people as folks prepare to send their children back to school.
I guess, Mr. Speaker, I don't know about deflation and costs coming down. All I can tell you is that the inflation rate itself was 2.7% in the most recent read year over year versus it got to a high of 9% under Biden. Stocks are at record highs. Unemployment is 4.2%. That's full employment. The GDP was 3%. The border is actually secure. We've got trade deals with EU, Japan, many more in the works, and trillions of dollars of foreign investment coming here. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been set back indefinitely. And I just wrote down a few things. So I just have to ask you, where is the calamity that you're talking about? And it almost seems like for Democrats, socialism is the answer to these problems. Or, I don't know, an end of democracy or something? We just don't get it.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what we stand for, Joe. It's pretty clear. As Democrats, we believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. In America, you work hard, you play by the rules, you should be able to live the good life. And there should be no ceiling on your success, on your capacity to do anything in the United States of America. That's the great promise of this country. At the same period of time, there should be a strong floor. Today is the 90th anniversary of Social Security. It was born 90 years ago today. What we've seen from this administration is an attack on Social Security, an attack on Medicare, an attack on the Affordable Care Act, ripping Medicaid away from millions of Americans. That actually is the type of strong floor that we should also have in this country. You pass one big, ugly bill that's now law on a partisan basis that represents the largest attack on health care in American history. Hospitals will close, nursing homes will shut down, community-based health clinics will be unable to operate. People all across the country are going to experience increased premiums, co-pays, and prescription drug prices. That's a problem for everyday Americans. I'm not talking about people who are already wealthy and well-off and well-connected. I'm talking about the everyday Americans that I represent in Brooklyn and that we're fighting hard for. In fact, those same Americans, food is being ripped out of the mouths of hungry children, veterans, and seniors with the largest attack on nutritional assistance in American history. I find that problematic. in the United States of America, and millions of people do so as well.
Leader, where do you land on this mayoral race in New York, and in particular on Mondani, who is clearly now the front runner in this situation, won the primary? You have not publicly come out endorsed him yet, and I'm curious what you're thinking.
Well, he ran a strong race in the primary, obviously, relentlessly focused on affordability, which is a big problem, of course, here in New York City, along with every other part of the United States of America. And he outworked the opposition, he outmessaged the opposition, and outorganized the opposition. But now, during the general election, of course, he's going to have to demonstrate to a broader electorate, including in many of the neighborhoods that I represent in Brooklyn, that his ideas can actually be put into reality. And that's, you know, the conversation that he's having with me and having with people who are community leaders and residents in the 8th Congressional District I serve.
And that sounds like you're not convinced then yet.
No, well, we had one initial conversation. It was a constructive and candid conversation. It was centered around the community. And in that conversation, he indicated he'd like my help in putting together additional meetings with members of the congressional delegation, as well as leaders in many of the communities that I represent in neighborhoods like East New York and Brownsville, Canarsie, some of the more lower income working class neighborhoods that I may serve. I agreed to do that. That meeting is being put into motion right now.
How do you think about him relative to Cuomo? And how do you think about the message of socialism, or being a socialist, and what that may portend for the Democratic Party?
Well, I think, as I indicated, listen, my view about what we as Democrats stand for, what we're fighting for, we need to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. We need to fix our broken healthcare system, and we need to clean up corruption in Washington, D.C., so we actually have a government that works for the American people, for everyday Americans, for hardworking American taxpayers, as opposed to working for the privileged few. That's what that one big ugly bill was about. Cut health care, devastate nutritional assistance, reward Republican billionaire donors with massive tax breaks. That's not us as Democrats. Here in this country, work hard, play by the rules. You should be able to afford to live the good life. Good paying job, good housing, good health care, good education for your children, and a good retirement, which, by the way, means protect Social Security and Medicare, because they are earned benefits, not entitlement programs. Don't try to devastate them.
I understand that.
Which is what the Republican plan is right now.
I'm curious where you land on things like, you know, freezing rent, free buses, giving away, you know, free food at supermarkets and the like, and what you just think of that idea and what it represents.
Listen, Zoran is going to have to make the case to the people of New York City, including in the neighborhoods that I represent, that these ideas, which are designed to address affordability in New York City, and that as a top-line effort is important. The cost of living is the #1 issue here in the city, #1 issue across the country. It's why Donald Trump's poll numbers are in the basement right now.
But do you agree with those approaches as a solution? Look, you and I agree. Affordability is this #1 issue in New York. It's the #1 issue in the country. And so he has done a great job of identifying that issue and articulating that issue. The question is how you attack that issue. And what I'm asking you is whether you agree with the solutions that he's offering.
Here's what my solution would be. And I've said this directly to him, and will continue to say it to policymakers across the city, the state, and the country. We have a situation in New York City and across America where the demand for housing that is affordable greatly exceeds the supply. That's a problem. That imbalance is jamming people up. Working class residents, moderate income residents, middle class residents. In New York City, if you're a police officer married to a nurse, you can't even afford to purchase a home in this city. That's problematic. So we have to build our way out of this problem. That's all hands on deck. that's city, that's state, that's federal. That also means a meaningful partnership with the private sector. That has always been my position. That will continue to be my position because it's the right position for the people that I serve.
Andrew Cuomo has made the point that Zoran Mandami lives in a rent-controlled apartment, even though he is not considered, quote-unquote, poor, and that Andrew Cuomo would actually try to create a law in the state that would prevent people like Mandami from living in a rent-controlled apartment. Do you think that he should live in a rent-controlled apartment?
Well, listen, that's an issue for the state legislators and the state government to work out.
Well, no, but it's a fascinating issue about affordability in this city, and whether there are folks who are living in rent-controlled apartments all across this city that effectively should be going towards poor people who need that affordability.
It's a legitimate issue that has been raised, and the Mandami campaign is going to have to address it.
Talking about issues that folks are going to have to address, what do you think of the president's decision to replace the BLS director in terms of this new person who's just been put into this role?
I think it's a disgrace, but it's part of a consistent pattern.
Order filled.
Order filled.
The Trump administration has attacked the free enterprise system here in the United States of America. The Trump administration has unleashed the largest pay-to-play scheme in modern American history, and everybody in corporate America knows it. Everyone in Washington, D.C. knows it. Is that not an attack on a free market-based economy here in the United States of America? Seems to me that it actually is. That's problematic.
Right, but here's the thing. You're talking about a free market. This is why I wanted to go there, because there's sort of you're talking about a free market on one side and being an advocate for a free market on one side, but at the same time, we just had a whole conversation about an individual who is running for mayor in New York City who is genuinely titling themselves a socialist. And you're saying that you might ultimately support them. And so I'm trying to understand the distinction here.
No. I'm trying to understand why you would spend a significant amount of time asking me about the Democratic nominee who's not even the mayor, and it's not a legitimate point to raise about a president who is regularly attacking the free market economy, bullying corporations, bullying universities, bullying law firms. He just recently called upon the CEO of Goldman Sachs to fire their chief economist. That's not problematic. He's the leader of the free world, the president of the United States of America. He's in office right now, and he's attacking the market-based economy. Now, I said that I support.
I don't disagree with you at all. And I don't love those attacks, but I will say, just in fairness, and I wonder whether you think that they're the same or they're not the same, there have been people that have criticized Elizabeth Warren for years for individually attacking and going after and naming specific CEOs in America, specific companies in America, over again and over again. President Biden famously didn't invite Elon Musk to the White House, probably caused him to actually support this president originally. And so the question is whether those are the same or they're different.
It's interesting that we're talking about Joe Biden, no longer the president, Elizabeth Warren, who's a senator, as opposed to Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, his administration, as well as complete control of government in Washington, D.C., the House and the Senate. That's the problem that we are confronting right now. And our challenge is to actually make sure that we are addressing the issues of significance to the American people. And the number one issue is the high cost of living that they failed to address.
Final question. I think there are a lot of Republicans who actually agree that there are certain things this president does that they don't like, but they're unwilling to stand up and raise their hand and say something about it. Why do you think that is?
I mean, we're dealing with a cult-like situation, unfortunately, in Washington, D.C., and we as Democrats will repeatedly make the point, look, we are a separate and co-equal branch of government. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for Elon Musk. We don't work for J.D. Vance. We work for the American people. And unfortunately, far too many of my Republican colleagues have not taken that approach. They are actively doing damage to the people they represent, including the largest attack on Medicaid in American history, and they're going to pay a price for that at the polls in November of next year.
Leader, want to thank you for joining us. Always great to talk to you. We love hearing your perspective, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, still to come, a read on wholesale prices, whether or not consumer costs are likely to rise. It's the July PPI data out in just a few minutes. And the futures ahead of the numbers. You see, that would be new highs in the S&P and the NASDAQ. Continuing new highs, all-time highs. Futures, you can see, fairly positive, right around flatline before this number. We'll be right back.
Behind this family's financial future is their advisor, helping them grow their wealth and share it across generations. And behind their advisor are Vanguard's institutional quality bond funds, powered by smart, repeatable strategies. Fact is, 90% of Vanguard's active bond funds outperformed their peers over the last 10 years.
We can get behind that.
Are you backed by institutional quality bond funds? Vanguard.
Decking and railing that's ready for anything you throw at it, or on it, even John's 40th. Trex, performance engineered for your life outdoors.
Order filled. Sound familiar? Financing the aluminum giant building better homes? Mizuho was there. The merger of two logistics titans? Also us. Anywhere an industrials company needs a corporate and investment bank, we're there. Mizuho Americas.
Here on the internet, you can pretend to be anything.
Like a medical professional.
Or a skilled electrician.
Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Angie, job's done well.
Right now, enjoy a massive 80% off your entire first order at Fabletics. We've got everything you need to look and feel fabulous. Don't miss out. Get 80% off your entire first order when you sign up as a new VIP. Only at Fabletics.com.
Don't you hold so long, 'cause I can feel your love. I can feel your love.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
A couple of minutes away now from producer price index, also jobless claims. Futures are flat on the session, although we have seen rates moderate just a little bit. Last time we looked at it, like 420 now or so on the 10-year. We'll take a look. See if I can confirm that. 4.206. We have seen Bitcoin rally to new highs, and it's pulling back just a little bit this morning. Rick Santelli is standing by at the CME in Chicago. It'd be good to talk to him. And Rick, you can just fill us in on what the PPI includes, what it doesn't include, how it differs from the CPI, whether you see different impacts of tariffs and on import prices. It looks at different things.
Yeah, no, and there's a whole
host of new vernacular and terminology we're all becoming so comfortable with. Factory gate prices. So what we're going to be watching is, when it comes out of the factory, before anybody really touches it or does anything, we want to see what those markups are, how that effect is on the producer side with regard to pricing. So that's very important versus the end result on the consumer after it passes through a number of various entities. So on this part of the early form of production, it gives us an idea what might be in the pipeline for future pricing pressures. And even though it's been very sticky on both CPI, PCE, Producer Price Index, ultimately, what the stickiness is caused by is where the debate lies. Is it going to strictly be tariffs?
Order filled.
If a price goes up and then it's steady, there's no inflation after the initial jump. That's the way the numbers are calculated. It's the rate of change. So we got to be very careful how we look at some of these numbers. We're a couple seconds away, folks, from our July release of the Producer Price Index. Headline number is whoppingly big. Oh, my goodness. Up 0.9%. Up 0.9. And if you strip out food and energy, guess what? It's still up 0.9.
Order filled.
That equals June of 22. You're to March of 22 on the headline to find a bigger number. On the core number, that would comp to March of 22, since we've had a number of that magnitude when it was 1.2%. These are kind of COVID-distorted numbers. Now, let's look at ex-food, energy, and trade. Triple the expectations. All three of those were expected to be up 0.2. This is up 0.6. 0.6 would be the highest level since March of 22 when it was 0.9. Now, let's go year over year. These are warm too. 3.7, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Final demand year over year is 3.3. We're expecting 2.5. Now, 3.3, that would be the highest since February. The high water mark was January this year at 3.8. Now, 2.8 is food, energy, and trade. That is definitely higher than the 2.5 expected. 2.8 would be the highest since March. And right in the middle there, we have just food and energy. That number coming in at 3.7. I kept it for last because that really is a very, very large number. 3.7, that would be the largest since March when it was 3.9. So we see every single metric is warmer than expected. Every single metric is significantly higher sequentially. Now let's go to initial jobless claims. Here's a bit of good news, 224,000. That's down 3,000 from a slightly revised 227. And we're the 12th consecutive week above 1.9 million, and continuing claims, 1,953,000. Once again, it all gets stacked up pretty tight. What we're thinking about is these numbers go all the way back to November of 2021, and the next jump up from these numbers will be when we pop over 2 million. The last time we did that was, as I said, Nova 21, 2,041,000. So we saw interest rates move up to this kind of 4.25 level in 10s. The 2-year has moved up to a bit to 370, and every maturity now, except for 30-year bonds, are higher than virtually unchanged. Next week on Wednesday, we get a 20-year.
Order submitted.
On the supply side, it's a bit in the rearview mirror. We didn't have terrific auctions, and I'm going to throw it back to you guys. I'm a little surprised the markets haven't moved more on it.
Order submitted.
The knee-jerk is usually against expectations. The residual trade down the road here today will be about how this factors into the bigger picture.
No kidding. Yeah, the 10-year, that's not it. But the 2 years, Sorkin, what day is it? Thursday?
Thursday, the 14th.
How's your institutional memory?
Lousy.
It is. It's horrible. I can tell you. I can tell you what we talked about on Monday. We went from total inflation phobia to where, and you were uncomfortable. We talked about.
Yeah, I remember.
We flipped. We were at 180 degrees. Trump. I mean, even yesterday or 2 days ago, after the CPI. How did it happen now, Steve? Why would it be reflected in this number? And give me the Fed futures, too, because we're
calculating them as we speak.
It's the 16th and 17th is when the Fed meets next month, right? Yeah. So we'll have another jobs number. Right. And we'll have another PPI, CPI read before then, I think, too. But does this throw things off track?
Absolutely. Absolutely it does, because Rick ended his discussion by saying we'll have to see how
Order
all this fits into the
submitted.
big
Order
picture.
filled.
Order filled.
Order
See
submitted.
that as being essentially, we have to see how this fits into the PCE. We get parts of
So
the
we don't
Order
know?
canceled.
Order filled.
It's being calculated now as we speak, Joe. You don't pay for the express service. You only pay for the anyway. The point is that parts of the PC are calculated from CPI. Other parts come from PPI because it's thought to be better data. That's why the Fed likes the PCE, because it takes the best data from both, and we don't know. What we do know is that the PPI coming in hotter than expected likely means that this PCE
Order
will
filled.
be hotter than expected.
Order
But I
filled.
want to actually make Rick's point for him. My point all along has been there is no immaculate taxation. Somebody's going to pay.
Right.
Prices are going to go up.
Right.
But that doesn't change the important point that Rick made. Just because you have a one-time price increase doesn't mean you have an inflation problem. This, Joe, is exactly what the economists thought was going to happen. Okay?
Order submitted.
You're going to have three people along the way: your exporters, your importers, and your retailers. Somebody was going to pay it somewhere along the way. It has to show up somewhere. The U.S. Treasury, I don't mean to be so excited about this, is not collecting $29 billion of tariffs that no one is paying. Somebody's paying it, and now we're seeing that there's some increase in prices.
Order
here.
filled.
Order filled. Future tax collections.
Yeah, it's fine. But the point is that
You know,
it's
the
got to come
government
from
needs
Order
to spend
submitted.
all this money. You had the House Minority Leader on. Maybe this money could help pay for some of those things. They're going to get us in the wallet one way or the
Rick,
other.
then you should be out there telling the president he shouldn't be sending this out as some kind of dividend, which he talks about.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Well, you know
Order
what?
submitted.
We should tell that to everybody in Congress, all 530
Order
people,
canceled.
Order filled.
including the president, the vice president, because that's what everybody does. You know, that's why the distortions of when you lower taxes, they say, oh my God, it's going to create bigger deficits. Only because they overspend their savings. They all do it, Andrew. I agree with you. They all do it.
Did you get claims, Rick? I can't seem to find claims. Oh, I just called it up. Hold on.
Claims are 224,000.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order submitted.
1,953,000.
There's a whole
12th
other
consecutive
debate.
week over 1.9. Yeah.
There's a whole other debate. Maybe we'll have it
Healthy.
tomorrow about what's going on in the jobs market. Are jobs healthy or solid, as some officials say? Is it a sign of worry what's going on? It's a different debate.
You
But
got Fed futures yet?
Yeah, I do. I have it down a bit.
Order
but I'm
canceled.
asking my producer to calculate it one more time. I have it at 93, down from 100, essentially. So it came down a little bit for September, came down a little bit more for December, and they priced for October, and they priced out right now at 44%, the third cut.
Order submitted.
That's where that's what we're thinking right now.
Rick, I didn't even try with Leader Jeffries. He wants, he's mad because prices aren't actually coming down. But failing to say that they went up to these levels because of 40-year highs and inflation of 9%. And now they're here and they're only rising, whatever, 2.7 2 days ago, higher in this number, but they're never coming down. We're not, unless there's a recession, right? We don't want.
No, it's the compounding
deflation?
nature. It's the compounding
So what are they talking
nature.
about?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, every a month when I do CPI, I always give the actual indices that go back, you know, over 100 years on one of them, not on the seasonally adjusted. And both of them every month are pretty much at all-time highs. So you're right. We may go sideways some months. We may even have small downturns. But for the most part, what everybody watching hates about pricing is the fact that it compounds like compounded interest. And even when it shuts itself down, yes, going down is a whole new ball game that we never talk about, that the Fed isn't even concerned about. The Fed doesn't care if prices really go down. They just want them to stop going up.
Hey,
Order
can I just
submitted.
make a point? There's an anomaly in the data here from what I thought was going to happen. I thought what was going to happen was this area called trade services. It's a measure of profit margins, would squeeze and actually exert downward pressure on wholesale prices. I think that was an expectation across the street. But these are big numbers. Trade of private capital up 4.5%. Trade of personal consumption goods, what the margins that they're making, all of them up big. And I don't quite understand why the government is saying that profit margins increased when we're not seeing the essentially a lot of inflation in the consumer prices, but we're seeing prices higher on the wholesale prices. That should compress margins, and we've had a whole bunch of companies come on and say, we're taking big hits because of these tariffs. So this number should be going the other way. I'm not sure what's happening here, but Rick has also reported, and it's worth saying, even if you take these trade services out, the PPI was hot anyway, but this should have exerted some downward pressure, and it didn't. Real quickly, I'll be asking St. Louis Fed President Alberto Musalem about these numbers and much more later this morning.
Order filled.
Right. Thank you,
Order
Rick
filled.
and Steve. Now what? Oh, Andrew, we have a panel.
We do. You ready for this? Kitty Richards, former Treasury Department official in the Biden administration. Also, Josh Ruha, Stanford Graduate School of Business professor. Good morning to both of you. You've been listening to this debate. You've seen these numbers. Kitty, I'll start with you. What do you do about it if you're the Fed?
I think that the Fed is going to have a difficult time meeting those investor expectations of a rate cut. I actually want to focus on what we were just talking about.
Order
this difference
canceled.
Between
Order filled.
the CPI, which is only starting to warm up, and the producer
Order
price
filled.
index, which
Order
came in
submitted.
very hot. And part of what's going on there is that there is a bit of a timing
Order
mismatch
filled.
between when
Order
consumer
canceled.
prices rise and when producer prices rise.
Order
So
submitted.
I think that the Fed is going to look at this and that CPE release that's going to come later in the month and say, ooh, we're not really sure what's going on, but it looks like there are going to be price hikes coming down the pike. I'm actually not surprised that we didn't
Order
see compression
submitted.
of corporate profits. That's something that's characterized the inflationary period since the beginning of the pandemic, that corporations are actually able to protect their profit margins and actually even increase their profit margins at times using inflation and uncertainty as cover for price hikes, even if their costs aren't going up. And so one of the things we're going to be looking for in the CPI as consumer prices are starting to rise is, are corporations actually taking hits, or are they able to use this moment of supply constraint created by tariffs and uncertainty created by the Trump administration to pass on higher prices even above their increased costs?
Josh, what do you say?
Well, it's a toasty number, Andrew, but I think this PPI index is pretty volatile. I don't think you can read too much into this. One thing I noticed that we haven't mentioned yet is that the services component is actually up more strongly than the goods component. And if you're thinking it could be about tariffs, well, you'd expect to see more in goods. So I think it generally reflects possibly somewhat hotter demand than we had thought. It may slightly temper what the Fed would be thinking for the September meeting, but not by too much. And I also would want to underscore what you were discussing before, which is that the Fed should not be responding to price changes that would be driven by tariffs. I'm not seeing, I mean, for the CPI, you had to squint real hard to see evidence of
Order
tariffs.
filled. Order submitted.
This PPI as well, you know, I think we gotta digest the numbers. I'm not seeing it yet. So in any case, I think it's a volatile index. I think we're gonna have to wait and see what comes out with the PCE and the jobs numbers in early September, of course.
Order
Well,
canceled.
here's the other question, Josh. Do you think that all of a sudden these numbers come this September are going to be politicized?
Well, I think people may be discussing that, but it remains to be seen. You know what's going to happen there with the BLS. I don't think we're entering a new era of politicized economic statistics.
Order submitted.
Including the current nominee, E.J. Antony. You know, I don't think the issue with him, in my opinion, is that he would politicize the numbers. In fact, he's criticized the BLS on very valid grounds. And Secretary Besson was right when he said we can expect better from our statistical agencies. What I do think about E.J. Antony is that some of his statistical analyses are
Order filled. Order submitted.
I'd like to see
Order
somebody really
canceled.
holding that job, like maybe somebody from Silicon Valley, where I'm from here.
We got to run. Kitty, you want to final 20 seconds to you?
I think that investors should really be concerned about A.J. Antony, and we're seeing economists across the political spectrum, including folks from the American Enterprise Institute and other more right-leaning think tanks here in Washington, voicing the same concerns that he's not a high-quality candidate, and he is in the tank for Donald Trump's desire to have numbers that support his political agenda. And I think that's really, really troubling because the investors who watch this show, for example, rely on this data being accurate and timely and not being manipulated so that they can make good decisions about where to invest. And it should be really troubling to folks that we're seeing the politicization of our data gathering agencies. My hope is that those concerns are shared by enough members in the Senate, in the Republican Party, and that they are able to stand up to Donald Trump on this issue. Otherwise, I think that we're going to see more moves like this.
Kitty and Josh, want to thank you both. Appreciate it. Coming up next, investors, they are seeing a deer in the headlights, that is, plus Centers Medicare and Medicaid Service Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz. He's going to join us. We have a lot to talk to him about as well. Don't go anywhere. Squawk Box returns after this.
CIDP is no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I take Vyvgart Hytrulo self-injection.
Same. It's the first major innovation in CIDP treatment in over 30 years.
And while I still have CIDP,
I have a chance to
live vividly. Vyvgart Hytrulo has been proven to significantly reduce the risk of symptoms getting worse.
And I can treat my CIDP with a once-weekly injection in about 30 seconds.
Do not use Vyvgart Hytrulo if you're allergic to its ingredients. It may increase infection risk and cause serious allergic or infusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have a fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. The most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
I'm hitting fairways with the fellas.
I'm hitting the road with my number one. Look at you. That's how we live vividly with Vyvgart Hytrulo.
Ask your neurologist about Vyvgart Hytrulo for self-injection.
Order filled.
Meet Luke and Jason from Fire Department Coffee. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart.
Order submitted.
We make coffee that supports our community. And Walmart's played a big part. You know most of what
Order
Walmart spends
submitted.
is the products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S.? So we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew?
Now you know, Jerry.
And that is how you brew a mighty fine American business.
Order canceled.
Get a large two-topping Crazy Crust pizza for $6.99 from Little Caesars. Look at that buttery flavored garlic spread sprinkled with Parmesan. Try Crazy Crust for $6.99 for a limited time.
Pizza.
But wait! I need to mention how there's over a dozen toppings to choose from.
Pizza.
But wait, I want to reiterate how legit this Crazy Crust is. It's good. Little Caesars is the real deal.
Pizza.
But wait! Gotcha!
What a hotel. Right? And only $250 a night for my favorite site. What?
You didn't check Trivago.
I got mine for $155. You have to check Trivago.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
On Trivago, you can compare hotel prices from multiple different sites.
Even your favorite one.
Look, same hotel, $100 less.
You didn't check Trivago?
I didn't check Trivago.
Check Trivago to compare prices and save up to 40%. Hotel? Trivago.
Check out the shares of Deere ahead of the opening bell. The company managed to report better than expected results, but the shares are down, as you can see, significantly down 6.5% after it narrowed its full-year profit guidance. We are going to go back to break quickly, and when we come back, we will have Dr. Mehmet Oz, the administrator for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Stay with us.
Sarah Benzino, Brandon Coley, Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
What'd she call Harper?
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
We actually sold the twins' naming rights.
You know, like stadiums do. Kids are so expensive these days. Here he comes.
Oasis Breeze Tan and Spa.
If you need a tan, I'm your man. Could do business with you.
Or we can look at some investment options for you.
Works for us.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
No application fee if you apply by September 3rd at University of Maryland Global Campus, offering online and hybrid courses and lifetime career services. Learn about our more than 135 degrees and certificates at umgc.edu.
At Public, the high-yield cash account's a no-brainer. I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it. It's very simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
Humana Medicare Advantage plans. Carry this card, and you could have the power to unlock benefits beyond Original Medicare. These are convenient plans that offer all of the benefits of Original Medicare, plus extra coverage and benefits. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage in one convenient plan, with $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions. Most plans include routine dental, vision, even hearing benefits. There's also a cap on your out-of-pocket medical expenses. That's more than you get with Original Medicare, and Humana offers $0 or low monthly plan premiums. So call now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra coverage and benefits. A knowledgeable, licensed Humana sales agent will explain your coverage options, even help you enroll over the phone. Call today and we'll also send this free guide.
Order filled.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
I'm Allison Lundberg,
Order
strategist
filled.
at AmericanEagle.com.
Order filled.
Wagner came to us with a goal to make their website user experience seamless and simplify access to product
Order
information
submitted.
for customers. We build enterprise websites like this all the time. Through a fully integrated digital transformation, WagnerSprayTech.com is now a fast, mobile-optimized website with an engaging user experience. For complete website and digital solutions, go to AmericanEagle.com.
Joining us now, Dr. Mehmet Oz, the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Doctor, it is good to see you, and welcome. It's so tough to try to navigate through these challenges, and I don't envy the job you're trying to do. So, by definition, we think that some government programs are wasteful. There's no doubt about it. At the same time, nobody likes to hear that something's not going to be covered or that authorizations are going to be tightened up. How do you walk the fine line? And you're trying to do it right now with Medicare. We've all heard AI is going to help us do all these different things, but when you try to use AI
Order
to
submitted.
maybe get rid of some unnecessary procedures, you're immediately going to hear people crying that it's unfair and we don't need this, and that's what you're going through right now.
Joe, the challenge is worth it. Think about prior authorization, which is the large category you're speaking about, as a tool. And when done correctly, it's incredibly helpful. You have a hammer, which is a tool, you can build a house with it, but you can do damage with it as well. And when prior authorization first started being used within Medicare and Medicaid, that was 60 years ago. By the way, the program's 60 years old this month. So, you know, it's got a long and wonderful history of helping Americans achieve their best health. And that's really the goal here. It's not just an insurance card, but to allow you to flourish, to thrive with the best health possible. You can't be a wealthy nation without being a healthy nation. But we need to make sure that the money is spent in the right places. So when you go to a checkout counter, you put your debit card in, you immediately are told whether you have money in the bank so that the vendor knows that they're getting paid and that you know you can actually pay for it. We need something equivalent to that with prior authorization. That's not what's happening now. For private insurance companies and for Medicare Advantage, oftentimes these programs are used as weapons to deprive care. It's done for a variety of reasons, but if we could make it work the way it's supposed to work, to allow us to adjudicate for sure that you're getting the right care in the right place, you're not having some unscrupulous individual doing an unnecessary procedure or giving you an unneeded medication, that's a helpful thing for the system. We think it could actually be about $100 billion of benefit to the American people, to the taxpayer, if we can use these services appropriately. So the president used the power to convene, as he often does. He realizes you can be nimble if you can get industry to start doing the right thing. So he asked us to pull together the insurance companies in America. We've got about roughly 80% of the people in America's insurance companies now pledging to do something with prior authorization. They announced it at the HHS headquarters with Secretary Kennedy and myself. We had members of Congress there, and they have vowed, by the end of this calendar year, to reduce the number of procedures for which prior authorization is required, only the ones that are most important. They're going to be very clear on what the criteria are for getting these procedures or these medications. And by next year, they'll do it digitally. So just like that debit card goes in and tells you immediately, not in 2 weeks, right that moment, whether you have money to buy that cappuccino, we'll be able to do the same thing for the American people.
Well, it's going to be demagogued. It already is. I'm reading it already. We don't need a duplicative process. It's just going to, result in less care being given to people that need it, and which brings us to Medicaid. We just had Leader Jeffries on. I mean, the way Democrats talk about what was in that bill and the way Republicans talk about it, it almost seems like you're in a parallel or a different universe.
Canceled.
They think Medicaid is being absolutely gutted.
Order submitted.
I mean, how do you respond to that? You need work requirements. Is the spending still going up over the next 10 years? Is it not? By trillions of dollars?
Joe, we're going to spend $200 billion more on Medicaid.
$200 billion, okay.
$200 billion more on Medicaid. And we have a program that had grown, the Medicaid program, 50% in its size in the last 5 years. So it's reprehensible to criticize the president on this, I think, very earnest effort to save Medicaid, to allow it to provide care to our most vulnerable. But you cannot use it in ways it was not designed. 60 years ago, when Medicaid was created, it was very clear it was supposed to be used for those at the dawn of their life, as Hubert Humphrey said, the children, those at the twilight of their life, the elderly, and those who were living in the shadows, the disabled. Those are the folks it was designed for. So every Democratic president and every Republican president has said that the backbone of a social support fabric has to be work. You want people to actually get out of their homes and go do things. An able-bodied person on Medicaid today watches about 6.1 hours of television or just hangs out leisure time. This is data that is well replicated. That's a lot of time. No one's going to be happy sitting at home 6.1 hours a day doing nothing. Your desire to go out and do something to change the world is given to you by God the moment you're born. We want people to go out there and live their fullest lives. So asking people to go out and either volunteer at a position, get educated, get engaged with your community, or go get a job, and we're going to help you do that. We already have 2 trials ongoing with technology solutions to allow us to pretty quickly adjudicate whether you've tried to work. If you have not had a job, we can try to connect you with the state employment offices. We can adjudicate whether you're trying to volunteer or get educated. Just go out and change the world. This is something everyone should be rooting for. I don't understand how you could possibly say that's a bad thing for America, for us not to want to get people to be wealthy, to go out there and change their own lives for the better.
It seems to be real concern about rural hospitals. Can you allay some of those fears, Doctor, and the effect? What is the fear, and how do you counter, how do you tell people it's going to be okay?
Well, the quality of the care you're getting in health care, especially, but the dignity you have is oftentimes driven, unfortunately, by the zip code you live in. So about 7% of the Medicaid dollars we spoke of go to rural health care. It's about $20 billion a year. The president and Congress have very wisely said we're going to put $10 billion more a year into this program for the next 5 years. So 50% increased spending in rural health care, and they've created a rural health transformation fund that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is going to administer. Okay. The money is going to be given with grants, which are being requested within the next month. By the end of this calendar year, we're going to put money into the rural healthcare system to make sure that it works better for everybody. Better manpower, right-sizing the system, and bringing IT into the program. We need technology.
I'm glad you know how TV works, because you wrapped just in time, Doctor. Yeah, we got to get out. Thank you. Dr. Oz, Squawk on the Street is coming right after a break.
There's some things that work better together, like your workplace benefits and retirement savings. Voya helps you choose the right amounts without over or under investing, so you can feel confident in your financial choices.
Voya, well planned, well invested, well protected.
QX80, you are cleared for takeoff.
Why go commercial when you can have all the comforts of private? The all-new Infiniti QX80.
Seabiths. Your company started in the kitchen.
Hello?
Now it has 3. Your team of 5 grew to an army of 500. And that's your logo, right there in marble.
That's big.
To grow your business from big to bigger, you need an advisor built for the middle market.
Our data shows that this deal works.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Accounting, advisory, insurance, and more. CBIZ, insights that impact.
Wearing regular shoes feels this cramped. Or Glide Step wide fit, hands-free Skechers slip-ins feel like this. With Skechers slip-ins, just step in, no bending down, no touching my shoes. Try wide fit Skechers slip-ins.
Don't miss a members-only event.
You want to trade? We may not be for you. You want to invest? Come to the right place.
Join the CNBC Investing Club to access Jim's monthly meeting. Go to cnbc.com/monthly meeting.
The staff, they made me feel so comfortable, and like they gave me that empowerment within myself that you got this, you can do this. Universal Technical Institute made investing in myself possible. The financial aid team is more than helpful. They're there for you, they care for you personally, and they want to see you achieve your dreams. I should have done it sooner.
Train for a career. Visit uti.edu.
Hey, champs, where's the hustle? Where's your whimsy?
Whimsy?
I thought I coached y'all better than this. You see those kids in the outfield? See how they're playing with their fruit by the foot? Oh, that's pure excellence. Now, get out there and play like you mean it.
Thanks, Coach Mom. Oh, that's my boy.
Gushers Fruit by the Foot and Fruit Roll-Ups. You better be.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Jim Cramer here at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Faber has the morning off. Futures take a bit of a tumble as July PPI is a barn burner. Biggest monthly jump on headline and core in over 3 years. Services actually track hotter than goods, but the 10-year still below 4 1/4. Our roadmap begins with the future for rates. Fed officials weighing in as the Treasury Secretary does suggest a half-point cut. AI demand fueling Cisco's quarterly beat. Chuck Robbins going to be with us in a few moments. And then Deere shares under some pressure. The company trims the high end of its full-year guidance. PPI, though, is the story of the morning as we watch the market reaction here. Jim, short end is higher this morning, but people are looking at portfolio management, some of the inputs that sometimes move this number.
Well, I go through it, and once again, I'm now a lot more skeptical than I was after what happened the previous one. And I look at things like, all right, machinery, I'm just going to reel off some, say tariff, no tariff. Machinery and equipment, way too hot, tariff, okay? Truck transportation and freight, bogus. There's been a freight recession. That makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know who they're even talking to. Why don't they call J.B. Hunt, get a little information there. Diesel fuel index. How are we going to control diesel fuel? Diesel is actually going down. I don't get that one bit. And then warehouse services. Well, I mean, that's why we have robots. I mean, so give me a break. The ones that are really bad are going to get better, which is one of the reasons why I think that the bonds are not going crazy. When they look through it, and I think people just say, where are they getting this information? And I don't think that's such a bad question to ask after what happened. Where are they getting it? When you talk about the freight recession that the trucking companies have, and you see that freight rates are up, I don't know who they're talking to. Who? There's no freight increase. There's a recession.
How do you explain the services, which, like with CPI, is not acting like an offset?
Investment services are up? Well, I mean, how is that possible unless you're talking about jamming people with private equity or something? Oh,
well, this is normally a function of asset prices, yeah?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the case. You can do that. At the same time, you know, am I going to change my outlook because BlackRock is able to make a little more because they have more money under management? I just, you know, look, I didn't used to look through these things. I would just say, okay, that's the data. The data's better than my anecdotal. I no longer feel that way. I think my anecdotal is more empirical than theirs is, and I think that we're discovering the flaws in the system where many people are laid off and the different divisions are not as accurate or as good as they used to be. I think that if we were to bring someone on here in pure candor and say, how did you get that freight number? How did you get that warehouse number? I think they would say, I'm not really sure.
When did you change your mind about the veracity of the data?
I think that the whole Doge And then the firing, I think the firing was handled very poorly by the president because he was worried about looking bad in the numbers. I was worried about the numbers not being accurate. I thought that was a reason to be able to have maybe a change at the top. But I have been saying now for 2 years that this can no longer be handled by the public sector. We have the ability to model, we have algorithms, we have people that could tell us exactly what the real numbers are, and we just have to hire them. If I brought in, yes, the stock that actually reversed yesterday in criminal faction, just kidding, Palantir. I think Palantir, with its ontology, its ability to be able to figure out an organization, would have much better numbers. And I now praise Alex Karp almost the way I praise Jensen Huang, which is completely wrong, because one man is a force of good and the other one's a force of I have no idea. But I do believe Palantir could do the numbers much better.
All right, so, but you don't think the case for a 50 gets any easier?
What is the case for a 50? I mean, guys say stuff.
You mean the Treasury Secretary?
It's okay. And look, he's taking his time getting rid of his stuff. It's more complex. It's like when I had my divorce, it was really complex. Okay, give me a break. I mean, just sit down and figure this stuff out. Sometimes harder than you think. But I would say that I look at what's going on and I say a double is just some sort of bizarre gambit, as if that's going to somehow put a pressure on Powell, who, by the way, does not care about any of this stuff. Why? Because, not that he's not focused on the reconstruction of his office. He's focused on doing a good job. And I think he's under tremendous pressure to do even a cut. So suddenly they play the 50 basis points. It makes no sense. I mean, not with these numbers.
Right. Well, Daly certainly threw some cold water on a 50 yesterday. Bostic yesterday saying the Fed can afford to wait. Job market near full employment. Jim claims we're still 224. Pretty good.
I think things are pretty strong. They're not great. I can make for a quarter point because the unemployment the revisions were really bad, and I'm presuming that the revisions are more accurate than not. But I do think that most of the companies I deal with, we talked to Chuck Robbins this morning at Business Roundtable, they're kind of confused. They're kind of confused. They don't really want to add a lot of people because they're afraid that maybe AI can take the maybe they hire them.
MetLife today has a chart. They reference Conference Board, but it's a chart of CEOs intending to reduce workforce over the short term and the medium term, Jim. It's like this. And MetLife's point is they're either right and the labor market's going to weaken, or they're overestimating savings from AI and those margins are going to suffer.
I don't think that's possible. I think that when we speak to Chuck Robbins at Cisco, a lot of his conference call is devoted to agentics, meaning let's not, non-humans doing the job. And I think that Chuck is not a political figure. And I think he'll just say, look, agentics are right now. And I think that, therefore, you have a lot of companies that are saying, why do I need as many people? So I think that there isn't anything in my mind that says that you take warehouses being up, that plenty of people in warehouses, and then you look at FedEx, which has got a gigantic warehouse in the Boston area with no people, and then you take a look at what Amazon's doing. You read how their big warehouses have no people, and then I'm supposed to conclude that the problem is warehouse employment. You need to be a little more granular than the labor department. I also don't think that they really know what a difference between a stock is and a bond, or a large company and a small company. I say that because literally I'm on all the housing, I'm on all the trucking calls. And the trucking calls are like, wow, I had no idea it was this bad. I have no idea it was bad. And it turns out that they're all wrong and trucking rates are up. No, I mean, sometimes you can look through it. Look, I read all these companies. And look, I'm not proud of it because it's taken away from a lot of my life. But at least on days like today, I have better insight than they do.
Yeah, we'll see. This is definitely top-down versus bottom-up. Jim mentioned Cisco, and we will talk to Chuck Robbins in a bit. Quarterly beat issues revenue guidance above forecasts. Company cites demand for AI infrastructure products. Be sure to stay tuned for our interview with Chuck in a few moments, Jim. I think their AI infrastructure orders are 2x their original target.
I thought that was terrific. Well, obviously, it's security that's the issue, not their genuine refresh for all of their switching and routing. It is certainly not their AI, which is very, very strong. The stock is down because of some words they had to say about security being disappointing. I think we have to get to the bottom of that and figure out what's going on. A lot of it is government work, and you can asterisk and say if it weren't for government work, they would do fine. But no one asterisks anything when once a stock has some momentum on the downside, it's just down. But we're seeing a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, yesterday NVIDIA was down all day. I said, well, why? Well, it turns out that there was a short story out there that NVIDIA is going to be late with the next chip, which is the Vera Rubin, and that therefore the MI450 by AMD is going to be in ascendance. The story was, I'll just use a word that I think is really kind of indicative of where we are. It was a lie. It was a lie. I mean, you can look up.
Like
it's interesting. You can chat GPT lie and Perplex lie and Gemini lie. It all comes up with the same thing, which is untruth.
Right.
It was untrue. And it caused a lot of people to buy AMD up 9 and sell NVIDIA. Now, there's probably a news story about why NVIDIA is down today, because NVIDIA is so easy to knock down right now because they're an honest company. They don't come in. And they're not a hype company. They're like, okay, you know, what do we? They don't come in and say, what do we have to refute today? The fact is that the most major story about NVIDIA is a positive one, which is that DeepSeek can't make the so-called ballyhooed chips that it needs, and they need the H20. In the meantime, the Chinese are buying excess homes. But no, the Chinese are all powerful, and we are just stooges in their way.
Your tweets this morning. It is true that there are reports that the Chinese government is asking some firms to buy homes. AMD, by the way,
Glennon said we're a bunch of useless idiots.
AMD gets added to the U.S. 1 list over at B of A. Nice profile of Lisa Su. I think it's in Wired.
No, she's fantastic. And I'm adding it to my Highway 66. The U.S. 1 will go Highway 66. Have the Boston Post Road exclamation portfolio. I mean, look, AMD is good, but the idea that that stock should have run yesterday off of Vera Rubin being late was just, I don't know who spreads these things.
Yeah.
I spend so much time shooting these things down. It's like I got the call at 4:01 saying, I finally got the call saying, here's what happened. I said, well, you know, 3:59, the call would have been more effective because the market closes. But everyone was focused on Mr. Bullish or whatever that was.
Well, yeah, that was a big story yesterday, and up pre-market again today.
It was Solano.
Yeah.
Why Solano? Why did they choose Solano? You can't get Solano at Fidelity. To buy Solano at Coinbase, you have to have a picture of your driver's license. What do I need, a passport to buy Solano?
Yep. We're gonna touch a bit more on crypto, certainly Bitcoin. Apple's had a nice run last few days as well.
Oh my!
And small caps.
Well, a lot of it's home robots.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for one for a long time.
You've been critical of Siri for as long as I can remember.
Siri. Hey, Siri, tell me anything. Anything.
When we come back, Cisco's Chuck Robbins will join us. We'll talk earnings and the company's AI strategy. Meantime, pre-market did lose some gains on that PPI number. We'll see how much it gets back. As we said, the long end is a little bit lower this morning. Stay with us.
Sir, it seems that the Gladiator is getting a lot of positive social sentiment.
Innovation changes everything. With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Meet Luke and Jason from Fire Department Coffee. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart along the way.
We make coffee that supports our community.
And Walmart's played a big part. You know most of what Walmart spends goes to products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S.?
So we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew?
Now you know, Jerry.
And that is how you brew a mighty fine American business.
You did it. You took an idea on a napkin, built a successful business, and made it look easy. But at U.S. Bank, we remember what went into getting here. The hard work, self-doubt, tough decisions. From all those extra hours to finally enjoying the rewards. Our wealth management team is always here to work with you and every generation to come, because there's nothing as powerful as the power of us.
September 16th in L.A., CNBC teams up with two-time NBA champion Kevin Durant and Boardroom for Game Plan, a high-powered event featuring NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, Monumental Sports and Entertainment's Ted Leonsis, global superstar Travis Scott, and more, breaking down investing opportunities in the business of sports and entertainment. Register now at cnbcevents.com/gameplan.
unique flavors, there's an H-E-B Creamy Creations flavor for every craving in Texas. Just one more reason. Here, everything's
Order
better.
submitted.
Style or substance. Somehow, it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Or get 0% APR on select Sierra 1500 models. That's over $4,300 in average finance savings.
See your North Texas GMC dealers.
Hyperscale cloud and AI investment setting up for a good backdrop for Cisco, which delivered a quarterly beat and slightly better than expected guidance. We're going to go into that. Joining us now, Chairman and CEO of Chuck Robbins. On the eve, by the way, Carl, of my 12 o'clock in CNBC Investing Club meeting where we own the stock for the trust. Chuck, it's love you have you on the show. And why don't you give us a little background on the vast majority of your business that is indeed doing better than expected?
Yeah, Jim, thank you. I'm really proud of what the teams have done. We had a strong quarter. If you go back over the course of the year, we grew 5%. We grew EPS very strong. Q4 was up meaningfully, 8 and then double digits on EPS. We talked about the AI orders. If you go back a little over a year ago, we set a target of achieving $1 billion of AI orders from our web scale customers. We more than doubled that. And one of the key things that everyone wanted to know was, is it actually turning into revenue, which was confusing to me because I thought when we take orders, we actually do ship those to customers. But we did acknowledge that we recognized roughly $1 billion of AI infrastructure orders during the quarter. Our core networking was strong, and security is actually improving. I heard you talking about it earlier, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but security is getting a lot better. So.
Well, let's go there for a second. I think there was a consensus that security was disappointing, and that if you asterisk it, though, a lot of the disappointment came in specifically with the federal government. Otherwise, it would have been a lot. But maybe Chuck, it's not fair to asterisk it, and that just should matter. And it wasn't as strong as you would have liked.
Yeah, I mean, you have to deal with what you can control. So, a couple of data points that we gave. Number one, our overall bookings, if you take out U.S. federal, were up 10%. The rest of the world, and security, if you take out U.S. federal, was up double digits from an orders perspective. So it at least tells us that there's a broad adoption of these new technologies across our enterprise customers, our commercial customers, the service providers and telcos, and public sector outside the United States, candidly. And so we feel good about that. We have been working hard on this new innovation. As I've talked about many times, I would say the pace of innovation that we're delivering today is probably faster than I've seen since I've been CEO and long before. And the new and refreshed security products that we have, which comprises 2/3 of the organic Cisco security portfolio, grew in excess of 20% during the quarter. Splunk's doing really well. It's just things are actually moving very much in the right direction, even though the numbers aren't quite where we want them to be yet.
Chuck, we keep looking for areas of potential friction. We keep coming back to the grid and power demand, power capacity. But is that a layer removed from the dynamic that you're inhabiting at the moment?
Yeah, we're not directly involved with those, other than trying to build silicon and products that actually consume much less energy.
Hello. Good morning.
In prior generations. And we've done exactly that. That's one of the key
What a dump.
reasons these customers in the web scale space continue to have strong demand for our technology. Think about
The 3 minutes looks like it can still dip, but maybe we'll get a little pump and open, but I still want to short. I've been shorting all this little pump, so far so good. You guys green?
Is going to be saved. Now, a huge theme that you had was agentics. Now, the subtext of agentics is the ability to be able to make it so that machines do what inexpensive machines do what expensive people can. You referenced it so many times that it made me feel that Jim, get on board agentics. Is let's say the zeitgeist, the narrative, a little too behind the trend of what's going on in the trenches?
Well, I think every customer I talk to agentic is the destination they're trying to get to. And the thing that really makes Cisco unique in our ability to help our customers deliver on that is all of this real-time, low-latency communication that's going to be happening consistently between agents actually to perform these tasks. There's two big things that drive low-latency network capacity demand, and you have to...
What about it voted to be upside today?
introduce more latency in the network by forcing this traffic through some appliance, some firewall appliance sitting somewhere. You have to put it in the network. So we're now fusing security into the network. That's the second thing. As it relates to labor, I think most of my peers would suggest that they do expect to be hiring fewer people if we get this right. It's early, but every rec that we have at Cisco, I'm challenging my team. Take a look. And do we need to hire that person, or can we do this with technology? And it's early, but I think if we're going to get there, it's where our pace of hiring over time should be slow.
Well, he has to pump so I can short. I don't want to short right now. I mean, bot's already short. Thick bot is red. Bot's short at 814, so it's a little bit red. I mean, hit 900, I was short again for sure.
Some argue is an encroachment into strategic decision making among private enterprise.
I do have puts though. I might sell my puts at open. We'll see.
Research, the revenue cut from exporting goods. Is that something that you expect the roundtable to push back on at all?
Look, I think this president has a different way of running the country, and I think we all understand that. And so I think he's going to do what he wants to do and what he needs to do. I think the real thing we need to focus on is look at the economy. Look at what's happening in the markets. I think look at what's happening.
You catching in a short?
And unemployment. I think the metrics would suggest that things are really good. There's obviously a lot of complexity.
I was just shorting those pump after data. So far it's good. A little green, not much. No. I'm flat. I only take like 5 points and get out. Bot's short, so let's see.
In the East, where you're doing great stuff with really doing stuff with AMD and Lisa Su. Can you tell us where those two giants are in terms of changing the world right now?
Yeah.
Well, they both have huge value proposition, obviously.
800 hell. So
I think the NVIDIA.
It looks like on the 15 minutes we might have more downside, so maybe we'll get a pump at open. I don't know. I do want to short again when we pump.
Deployed in a couple places in the Middle East where we're working with them. I talk to Lisa quite regularly, as do I talk to Jensen quite regularly. And the great news for us is we can partner with both. We can bring our connectivity layer to these players, and whether it's these sovereign clouds around the world or whether it's these emerging neo clouds, where candidly our enterprise presence and our go-to-market presence is one thing that they really admire. As one of the things that both NVIDIA and AMD want is they want us to help them position their technologies in the enterprise. So we think that we can partner with both and actually deliver real value for our customers.
Well, look, Chuck, thank you so much, and thank you for this roundtable question and answer, because I think a lot of us are thinking, wow, I mean, it's not like the old days. Sometimes we feel that business people maybe need to be defended a little bit more, but that's just personal thinking.
I think the data was pretty bad, well, at least on TV. I didn't even check the data.
This roundtable. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
I was short before data came out. I got scared and just took profit.
Sarah Benzino, Brandon Foley, Bugatti Auto Body, LLC.
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body LLC?
Yeah, that's the same. I think those two are the same company, so just don't spend money on there. It's a scam. Aqua and Blue Guardian. The same. Yeah.
For adults with obesity, Zepbound needs change.
It's changing what I believe is possible when it comes to weight loss.
Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off. Don't take if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic
No,
reaction.
don't drop
Severe
anymore. I
side
need a
effects may
pump.
include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduling procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control
Oh, it's a 30% consistency drawdown. Not consistency, but a drawdown.
dehydration, and worsen kidney problems. Ask your
Oh, Apex. I was talking on YouTube. Yeah.
I guess I'm not the easiest person to please. I like things just right. That's why I love Redfin's home recommendations. They know what I want even before I do. A home that's just right.
Yeah. Yeah. The digital gold, that is data, has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work. We're going to keep getting better and serve our clients.
CNBC Plus, the new streaming platform from the #1 source in business news. Watch live or on demand. Any market, anytime, anywhere. Start streaming. Go to cnbc.com/plus now.
One of our favorite times of the month, Jim and the CNBC Investing Club holding their monthly meeting today.
What is that? Russia.
Tease any tidbits you have in store.
Cisco will stay in the portfolio.
That's coming up at noon, as we said.
Oh, that today?
You can always scan this QR code on your screen, or just go to cnbc.com/monthly meeting. Look forward to what
The
Jim
heavy ticker on my watch list is red. I don't think it's going to affect the market, though.
Information and all of the details that you need to make money.
Female overtime or Eastern streaming on CNBC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Something happened can be really bad.
Choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra.
I'm doing the Tradeify growth account today on YouTube, so don't forget. Huh? What do you mean? The Lucid? Let me check. I think I still have some left. Yeah, I still have the 100K and 150K left, so I'm doing that next week.
And you're looking at $2,000 easy. But with HomeZone Smart Bundle, you get it all. The best space, a hybrid mattress, and accessories. Just $13.99. Smarter sleep starts here.
Yeah, I've been trying to do YouTube more. I saw that one.
These gorgeous
We
1932
got 3 minutes left.
as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 400 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a
What's up, Mugo?
opportunity, and you
Mugo.
can get a piece of the whore. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932
Say something.
dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty
Mugo?
with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now.
I thought that was Google that said that. Like, yep.
Still in uncirculated condition with
It's the dude.
that is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand.
Oh shit, look at that pump.
Receive a free bonus over a
Order canceled.
Yeah, I need to cancel my short. I don't want to short before open.
to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian
Order
coin.
canceled.
Let me see how the market's gonna be.
Must act fast. Call now.
I'm just short on this one only. Okay. What up, buddy? Huh? Yeah, I made money. I've been shorting all this rip, all this bounce.
Invest like the future is watching.
Oh no, I didn't. I was going to. I was short on my Tradeify funded, and then it was up $100. I just cut it. It's like, no, I'm too scared. I didn't have any cheap evals with YOLO. Alright, 1 minute, boys. And Lugo. Gamma be on later. He's taking his niece to school. I'm gonna be mad if we go green and pump. Bot's getting wrecked now on the short at 8:14, but you never know. It might dump. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who feel that even red wine, they finally got rid of that canard. So be careful in liquor store because it's just not getting better; it's getting worse.
Yeah, nice. The U.S. alcohol industry is reeling from special powers when it comes to shelf management.
My puts is only down 2%. Wow, that's it.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
There we go.
Order submitted.
Programming, by the way, don't miss our first on CNBC interview with Miami International CEO.
There we go.
Okay, so I think that it was amazing. Amazing because it went up a huge amount, and then there was profit taking, and that was actually shows a little bit of rationality. I think there are a lot of people who just say that. One of us watching someone's Frank Collins' excellent show talking about how we all know it's frothing, and I am a little more in the Rick Greer camp, who says that it's a really good time to invest. And the fact that
Oh, nice, got that.
made me feel okay. It's not completely crazed. I was confused by Tom Farley, CEO, talking about how it's going to be a Solana-based business because you can't buy Solana.
Order filled. Order
I
submitted.
did not mean to do 5 MAQ.
Order filled.
I fucked up on this funded one, the small funded one. Please drop.
Which will allow retail to buy crypto-backed notes on the LSE.
Order filled. Order submitted.
I think that what's happened is
Order filled.
stuck in their heels, and retail went with it.
Order filled.
President came in, and he is
Order filled.
man, and he's crypto person, and I just feel like
Order filled.
I have a book coming out. How to make money in any market, and I say you have to
Order submit. Order filled.
You have no choice. Because you've got to be away from but yesterday we passed the $37 trillion
Order filled.
national debt. And I think that one of
Order
the things
submitted.
you can do gold as a defense, or you can do Bitcoin. And I've got to tell you, I think Ethereum is going to be the first one to be used in
Order submitted.
And thank you to some football players who had the vision of being paid in crypto, and they were all laughed at, and now they're just, well,
yeah,
congratulations.
You're right.
Congratulations.
National debt
Order filled.
has doubled in 10
Order
years.
filled. Order submitted.
Yes.
Gravitated to
Order filled.
Next generation, you speak to the younger people.
Order
they just say,
canceled.
how can you not defend us? Or if you have to have, or if we put some money away, how can you not
Order
do this
filled.
to us? How do you just own it at all dollars? And you hear that from a lot of people. And you know that from Robinhood, the numbers are extraordinary. And a lot of the brokers, I think, are sitting back. They won't admit it on air and say, "Oh my God, Robinhood is crushing us."
Yeah, it wasn't a great day for
Order submitted.
online interactive brokers. I don't know about
I think that
Order submitted.
See, the bot's gonna go long? No, not yet.
when you actually try to buy these things, it's rather extraordinary because this is not. These things are all very tricky. people just, with the exception of Robin, there's no
Good shit, Jenny.
time to buy things. I think that Black 10 has been stopped the brokers in the future, and I think the other guys have to catch them.
Jim, small caps getting some back today. Russell's down a little bit of percent. BTIG did take a look at
What's the max you can make on the 150K Tradeify funding? The advance. I think 1,000, right?
Get back a little bit, 5 cents.
We talked during the break. One of my
Order filled.
that's on the office, but a great thinker, Michael Semblis, put together maybe the best
Order
case I've ever
filled.
read in one particular sector of his own healthcare. And then 80% of the biotech since 2018.
Almost made back my L from the other day.
And that's small cap. And to
I
me,
almost
that's
blew that one 2 days ago with like 600 DD.
get too hung up on small caps.
Order submitted.
It's an amazing look at what happened to
That's a huge pump.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Litigation regarding insurers. There's nothing going right.
No, and not the patent cliff, but the patent thicket. There's some
Dang, look at that pump. What?
Semblis does not carry himself. His main thing is fishing, and I'm
Come
going
on, drop it back down.
fishing with him in Trinidad.
What's up, buddy?
All I can tell you is that
What's up, Gambit?
first person ever to be sunk by a target in a kayak. But he's the great thinker of our time. And people just don't
Dude,
give him credit.
market's almost green again.
Some say it's like, this is just a worker.
There's a lot of retail news today, Jim. TPR's down. Actually, the biggest laggard on the S&P as tariffs do take, I think it's a 60-cent hit out of
Now,
earnings.
there's one where if you want to have a consumer
It
price
done
index
hard, but
drop,
it pumped hard too. What the hell? Now I'm stuck in a short. I need 82 to get out. Oh my god. Dude, I was making a lot with those shorts.
thought that was very significant because that had been something that over and over again, Brian
Yeah,
Gordon
there's getting killed.
have been touting as a great relationship. I think that Ulta has been, if you look at the chart, and
Yeah, bot's too short. Bot's getting wrecked short.
the exact opposite. Ulta Beauty
Uh,
been the primary
not really, because it got a little bit along, but it's short after the dump on PPI.
So you maybe want to look at Elf and say maybe Elf is going to be hurt a little bit, but then start covering because of Rhode, Hailey Bieber's. I'm not as big into that cosmetic business as I should be. I'm waiting for Hailey Bieber to be on.
You wear makeup every day.
I do wear makeup, but Hailey Bieber's more kind of like
This is all before their data came out, so we got all that back. 200 downs and it came back. And then Fish the screen now. He was deep red earlier.
So that was it, wasn't it? I was busy working on, I don't know. Geez,
Yeah, I
what
think
was
so.
doing, I was working on George
Order filled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
You do think there's some competition on Cisco's dashboard right now?
I think it might be. I know that George Kurtz
Order
at
submitted.
has made inroads in a lot of different places. I was surprised that the Splunk portion of Cisco did not have great numbers versus what I thought. Bounce rates come down quite a bit. I think
This
they're
spider
both
dip is
companies,
still
but what I
good.
like
Oh,
about
no more
Cisco
babies? You gotta pick them up or no?
refresh in their AI business, and CrowdStrike is a cloud-based company that has a lot of. There's room for everybody. There's room for everybody. But I think George Kurtz, in his own way, is an incredibly competitive person. Now, this is usually at the point where I mentioned he won Le Mans, and David says, "Well, you know, you've said that over and over again." And I say, "Well, did you name your dog after a bidding?" I think he named his dog after a biotech company from 2018.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely going from 450 to 303 and then testing that 300 again and then digging out of the hole.
Yeah, get it 80 so I can get out. I was trying to 95 and at 82.
George Kurtz, CrowdStrike, and Chuck Robbins, because they're gamers. They're competitive guys, and they want to win, but they're all above board, and they're terrific. And by the way, we have not mentioned the undercurrent of what's really
What a
happening
Ponzi
on here
market.
today, which is the CoreWeave lockup. The expiration of the CoreWeave has just been crushed.
Oh no, I got $1 profit yesterday on that. Yeah, I was down like 200-300, but I was just one. I didn't even care. I was just bored. I should have held it. I would be up a lot.
focus on everything involving data center because if you're not, I think you're missing a lot of the action.
Yeah.
I'm sure the bot's gonna go long. Yeah, bot might go long in the next candle. Yep, there we go. Bot long. I don't. Stupid. Yeah, bot long at 912. So hard to trust the bot. Yeah. I wouldn't trust the bot today because of PPI.
Order filled. Order filled.
But nuclear is not going to save us in a short period of time. It's just not.
One more note on retail. Amazon's leading the S&P, Jim. A lot of takes this morning on their perishable grocery expansion announcement yesterday. It couldn't have been done unless they had made same day so efficient in the last couple of years.
Trump comes on too, doesn't he?
Whether Dash is really vulnerable here or not.
I think Andy Jassy has been waiting to make a mark, and I think he's done a remarkable job. But this is it. I think that the idea of having
Just give me one more flush. One more flush.
this General Marshall book that I was going to bring on vacation,
Yeah.
and I'm very disturbed about it. But anyway, that's either here or there. I take back stuff here all the time.
Tradeify brokers on YouTube today. Don't forget, damn it.
But I do think that this is the new narrative.
Those count with free activation.
Not using their own training chips, and now we all forgot what we sold Amazon, and we're back. It is the large position my child trusts.
Let me get out. Let me get out. Let me get out.
Jassy is just a hitter. Doug Harrington handles the scores. He is so competitive. Hey, by the way, let's not forget.
I need a dip to maybe 860 and I'll long. I don't think the bot's gonna do well today.
You're gonna get your food, you're gonna get your drugs. It's gonna come to your house.
Yeah,
It's a whole
860.
new world.
There we
and
go. Come on, baby.
Amazon's got it. Let's just walk away from the idea that web services.
Google, I can see your fucking mic on there. Say something. Oh?
CVS, the bear that was perform. Impressed with the turnaround so far.
I think that they're
Orders canceled. Orders submitted.
back in Walgreens. They're shutting a huge amount
Wow,
of
that
Walgreens
bounced.
they were sold. I think that, by the way, David Joyner, non-promotional, did a remarkable job in terms of health insurance.
Almost got out too. Wow.
You're reading, by the way, again, if you're reading
You
Simplest,
kidding
I
me?
say, let's just put a gun to my head with 5 bullets. I don't want to go there when it's just bad ratio.
The other upgrades of note are two very beaten down names. Dow is the one out of B of A,
Yeah, always. Yeah.
where they just, I think on both them, and I think SHW too, Jim.
Yeah, no, I like SHW, but we got to be very careful. One of the things I'm learning to say on my conference call is we own Home Depot. It's been now a terrific win, but Home Depot is
The 3-minute got more room for upside too.
Is a buy that we believe that there's going to be maybe a double rate cut. I don't think there will be. I think the
Hey,
actual
Mike.
business is not that strong right now. partly
Might
because
go
we did
green.
not have a good garden season, but Sherwin-Williams
Dang good, like fuck the
believe
PPI.
that picks up their house. There's going to be renovation. That's always been what you have right here. So I think Sherwin-Williams shouldn't be a sell. Dow, can I have a reason? It's like you got to give me a reason to recommend a stock. Right. You can't just say, you know,
When
we're
it
gonna
long
buy
again,
this
it
low,
longed
because
at
that's a lot of that is going
912.
to be driven by China. I'm not seeing it. Ralph Lauren getting hit for 12 off the tapestry, and not really as analogous thing.
Right, you don't seem as worried about apparel, certainly vis-a-vis tariffs as the street.
No, I'm not. Although, look, I think people can say, Jim, your child
Yeah,
trust is
not-
TJX. Isn't that the exact opposite of these branded plays? But I thought the Ralph Lauren quarter was really good, and they were being cautious. Being cautious makes a lot of sense. It doesn't pay. By the way, Chuck Robbins, Cisco, he is a brand new CFO. I don't know if I would go really hard as a new CFO saying things are great. It's just, why set yourself up for failure? Right.
I think, we don't have
Yeah, the 920s were.
Coherent might be one. I think the revenue guidance
See
on this one-
96 coming up next.
It was not the typical
Just
business
give me.
that blew up.
What, the 15 minutes still got the downside of Gambit, so I don't know.
Being very, very positive about things, but it's not as US-centric.
Let me check my
Mystery to me that
trusty
years down
thing.
this
Yeah,
line,
15 minutes still got the downside, so I don't trust his bot.
and given the fact that Atco's principal just is crushing it.
I might want to short. Let me try to short at 25 if it hits.
Order submitted.
lost you more money by listening to Deere than any company I know.
Yeah, it's hard to trade right now.
I thought that Deere, if they could just for once be proud of themselves.
At least 900, we can drop more.
I suggested that CFO, there are a couple things
I think it's gonna go down. My PTM is getting weak.
We did have yesterday XHB home builders get a year high.
There again is the double, or we have the double rate cut, and I believe that you could buy, maybe home equity is going to come back there. We do see by the way, the numbers. I'm going to be still the numbers in Manhattan, the real estate numbers. It's just once again, over and over again, we just have a housing shortage, we have an apartment shortage. Toll Brothers is at 9 times earnings. That's the one you want to be in. I think they're doing quite well. Doug Yearly would tell you they're doing very well.
Right. But obviously, the notion today is that maybe rate cuts would not be as aggressive and as helpful to.
We can go day by day. I do think that housing took a big step back when people said, "Wait a second, maybe the economy's a little too hot." I'm not going to put too much on the PPI. I think PPI is the.
You see, Van, he got a $2,000 payout.
The CPI, because we do not have a labor department.
His 25K, yeah, I think he made 2,000. Yeah, he's up 3,000 actually. So yeah, $2,000 payout. That's nice.
Order filled.
Yeah, that'll blow.
I think the marginal employee in the federal government.
Order canceled.
I don't trust the labor numbers because I think that the
government
has chosen to make it so that every division is skinny down.
Yeah, I got out. I went at 25, got out at 20.
Yeah, I think if it's a service now, it cannot be done by the government. The government is not a big. You can't have the revisions like we had in employment.
How would you solve the data servicers' profit motive? Would they have to do it pro bono? How would that?
No, I think you can give them. You can give them most favored nation status or something, but I think that it would be a plum to handle that business. I think it would be great bragging rights. I also think it's kind of like Bill McDermott in Great America. You just say, listen, we'll take it on. We'll do it at cost. McDermott would do that. ServiceNow. I mean, ServiceNow, by the way, being hurt by this Elliott's thesis, Ben Rhodes' thesis that AI is eating software, which the judge talked about extensively yesterday. Very good roundtable. Very good roundtable.
The report from a couple of days ago, written by Ben Rhodes.
Good job, Google. Good job, boy. You can get 3 pros now, right, Google?
Look, I think that we've all seen that enterprise software, which have been the hottest area for venture capitalists, has just been blown up. The question is, I have a position, for instance, in Salesforce.
Fucking dude. But yeah, hey, Google, the free one I gave you, you have to pay for the activation fee, so it's $130, so it's not going to be free. Yeah, I told you that before.
Jim, it's added $30 in 10 days.
Well, you bought one. If you blow, it costs you money, see? Wow, that pump.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Let me touch some Apex.
Smart speaker with display and home security camera. I don't know. Home security is something that people want, but the main thing here is that we get robots, and they're not from Musk. They're from Apple. I think we'd be very interested in it. I think we trust them.
I haven't touched my Pro yet. I don't want to touch it.
Rejoinder on their AI weakness, so to speak.
I don't like.
I think that the reports of Apple's death are widely.
My 15 minutes trying to turn up, so I might go back up later. If we get all-time high with Bad Dad, I'm gonna be so mad.
1,400%. Some crazy number. That's just I said.
Yeah, it's trying. Yankee was almost green.
I'm talking about Reagan, who heads on and spewed green bomb.
Yes, different Reagan for sure. Different Reagan. Again, can't wait for Jim's club meeting coming up in June. As we go to break, watch bonds. Obviously, some action as PPI ran hot. One of the biggest.
Yeah, PPI was bad. That's really bad. That's why I dumped 200 points. I mean, Van was correct. It says it's gonna move the market. Yeah. Market doesn't care.
Filled.
The Bond Report is brought to you by PIMCO, a global leader in active fixed income. You can pretend to be anything.
Like an elderly man's bank. Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Well, that's only up 25 points only.
Order canceled.
50 more dollars, I can be done with this account. Let's go.
77 cash now to get a $100 gift card for a free quote. Is this your dream of retirement? How about this sweet deal? Or is this a little more your style? Retiring well isn't a guarantee, it's a goal. It's easy when markets are going up. But what about when they're not? That's why you need this. Call for Fisher's Retirement Survival Kit, featuring your guide to surviving market volatility, our stock market outlook, plus the Fisher Investments Difference. 3 indispensable guides, yours free for calling 1-800-213-5317. Fisher Investments' disciplined approach will help see you through the market's ups and downs and give you the confidence you need to reach a comfortable retirement. And our fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. Call now for your free retirement survival kit. 1-800-213-5317. See if your dream retirement is on track.
I think we might hit 24,000 again for sure.
Call Fisher today. Call 1-800-213-5317.
Is that bot long ES now? Yep. Bot long ES. Yeah.
Most people don't realize how processed typical dog food is. At the Farmer's Dog, we believe dogs should be able to get their daily nutrition without the excess processing.
Digestibility is just better. We have the right amount of protein.
We'll add one more short to this TPT and it's 50K that I'm holding. What is it? Yeah, I'm not touching the pro yet. See the 3 minutes. Still got upside.
Join the CNBC Investing Club to access Jim's monthly meeting. Go to cnbc.com/monthly meeting.
You can see mostly red on the S&P. At the open, only one sector was green. That was consumer discretionary.
Almost a high day.
Order submitted.
The VIX, by the way, trying to knock on the door 15.
The sale's still there. It's good to this week. This is the last week. They won't extend it. Let me check email. I thought it was Friday. I'll check.
The AI agents are making you all rock stars. Sorry.
Are you gonna get some more?
So,
Okay. Are you getting more or something?
We can manage our people and AI agents.
How many 150 do you have? Just one, right? One pro?
Interns.
See you tomorrow.
Luke and Jason from Fire
Order
Department.
filled.
Order filled.
Dream and a little help from Walmart along the way.
We make coffee that supports our community.
No.
And
Order
Walmart played a
submitted.
big part. You know, most of what Walmart spends with the products made in
Order
Walmart
canceled. Order
Here in the
submitted.
US, so we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew? Now you know, Jerry. And that is how you grew a mighty fine American business.
Behind this couple's financial future is their advisor, who's building a portfolio designed to meet all their needs. And behind their advisor are Vanguard's Institutional Quality Bond Funds.
Order
Powered by a
canceled.
bench of experts that have consistently delivered year after year. The fact is, 90% of Vanguard's
Order
active
submitted.
bond funds outperformed their peers over the last 10 years. Are you back?
Oh, what a drop. Nice work.
The $7,500
Morning, buddy.
September 30th, 2025. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today. Travel could be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo.
Yeah, all the Bears got wrecked. Good thing my sizing is small. Give me $8.95 so I can get out. I won't short anymore. No, I didn't short yet. Did I short yet? Yeah, I did. I did short yesterday. I did. My bad. Yeah, I was following the bot. Fuck this bot. Oh my god, I'm about to get out. Come on. Let me get out. Fuck my stop loss, man. I don't care. It's eval. $8.95. Yeah. I don't size up much. It's only one NQ.
Things roll over. I mean, Ultra Beauty's being taken as negative for the target. Maybe short term.
Should I buy a day trader account, the big one, and try to get a payout? Because those 25K is hard. I might do the 150. I don't like the activation fee though. I need to tell them to take that out. Ooh, it's getting juicy.
The double ring fund is just more. It's just misinformation. I don't know why anyone said. I feel like
you shorted?
I expected to be a little cooler.
You long?
So you don't really go out with that. If I were a advisor, I'd say, yeah, look, there's no need. Don't press it. Right. No need. Smart guy. Come on.
So Cisco, you think will be a topic of your monthly meeting?
If it drops again, I'm just gonna cut it.
I'm going to talk about you don't need to own any natural resources. I'm going to discuss the drug companies with that Michael Semble's peace of mind. But
Apex extended to 80% sell.
Our tech is really, our tech is equivalent to what Zuckerberg. Now, I mean, he's a little I got Judge Meta at Google, and I got Meta that's going to help Meta. I love this on this and bring in on my trip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, we should write a review. I want to see how they work.
Yeah. Well, you can look at the plan. Say, what is that? What am I looking at? And it works. It doesn't say plan. It tells you exactly what it is. My daughter's a birder. You know, she looks and says, well, you know what? That's a seagull. Now, come on, give me a little more granularity. Okay, that's a rare Corsican seagull. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're years away from Google Glass. Remember that?
But these are good. He says it's the best way to do AI. I don't like to argue with Zuckerberg because he's kind of a smart fellow.
Jim, we'll see you at noon. Club meeting.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And of course, Mad Money tonight. When we come back, inflation and the future for rates with the president of the St. Louis Fed. Reaction to this morning's PPI.
Yeah, she sold the twins naming rights.
Yeah, like stadiums do. Very lucrative.
Oasis Breeze and Spa.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
Give me 960 and I'll reshort. Me? No, I only have 2 accounts short. So I'm not really bag holding.
My name is Mike Hammond, founder of Signa Relief. Much of my career has been working in construction. I love outdoors and horses. That active lifestyle is what has caused my body to hurt. I didn't want to let this affect my family or my life, and that's what motivated me to create a team to build the Signa Relief patch, clinically proven to reduce the impact of pain. The patch is a game changer. No creams, no pills, no wires. The patch is reusable, and there's a real money-back guarantee. Whether it's your neck, back, knee, shoulder, or just aches and pains, this patch can give you your life back. When I gave my best friend a patch with tears in his eyes, he said it was the first time in 16 years he did not hurt. Join the hundreds of thousands who found relief.
Good
I'm
on.
asking you to try the Signa Relief patch today by going to our website. If you're thinking about buying, it means you need one. You have nothing to lose, I promise. The patch works.
Yeah.
Jump on that trend right away. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing. Right?
What's up, Van?
The digital gold that is data has never been more important.
Oh, ink is barely red.
Keep getting better to serve our clients.
My name is John Brown. I'm a financial advisor, I'm a wealth manager, and I'm a dad. Everyone needs to invest. That market is going to be fun for pro subscribers. We're going to take you behind the scenes and tell you the stories that are driving some of the most exciting names on your pro screen. We're going to show you exactly where the best stocks are and what's happening with them in real time.
Join Pro for exclusive access to Josh Brown's best stocks in the market at cnbc.com/beststocks.
Welcome to Swap on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla. We are live from Post 9, as always, at the New York Stock Exchange. David has the morning off. Stocks are under a little pressure this morning. We've come off the lows of the morning so far, but take a look. S&P down a little more than 0.1%. NASDAQ is unchanged as tech outperforms, and the Dow is down about 128 points. We do have some sectors green: consumer discretionary, communication services, and technology. Everybody else is red. Materials, real estate, and energy are underperforming. NASDAQ Composite, though, just popping into positive territory again. Some strength in technology today. As for treasuries, it's been a busy week of data. We'll talk about PPI in just a moment, but they're selling off. Yields are a little bit firmer. 10-year yield 4.265%. The 2-year yield a little elevated at 3.7%, but
I'm
nothing
fine. I
major.
got a lot of buffer. I have an average down at 24,000. Not worried. So on trade day, you cannot flip on the eval, okay? Yeah, someone got denied saying that no, you can't flip. It's been like that. They even say it on the website you can't flip, so you just gotta trade. Just do like a couple trades, but not one trade. Yeah. Well, not just that. You need to take more than one trade. Yeah, just trade like one MNQ for like 3 or 4 trades, and you should be fine.
The first instinct is to worry. Tariffs are impacting inflation, as people have been worried about. But there are some interesting
I think
things
so,
in here.
and hold it for longer than 20 seconds.
For
Yeah.
instance, management up 5.4% for the month. That's just stock prices going up. So that's not tariffs at all. Airfares, we know we're hot in the consumer price index. They were up 1% in the month. So that combination
I just told you,
makes
Google.
this a less
You wanna say it on voice? It's better than typing it out.
worries about inflation. Does it reflect the fact that some of these tariffs
Come on,
are feeding
Google.
through into wholesale prices? Absolutely. But I will note, services prices in here actually increased a lot more, 1.1% last month, than goods prices, excluding food and energy, which only rose 0.4%. Does it shift the Fed off course, or at least the market's thinking that the Fed is off course for a September rate cut? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's high-frequency economics this morning. This will be a kick in the teeth for anyone who thought the tariffs would not impact domestic prices in the U.S. economy. Will not be a long journey for producer prices to translate into consumer prices. Services actually made up almost
80% of the increase of PPI in July, which is not the offset we were hoping for to make up for any.
Now we're in a chat zone.
Right, that 1.1% gain in services prices. That was the most since March
Let me check
2022.
the 3 minutes. No, still got more upside.
The question at the Fed is going to be, can they look through that as a one-off and the fact that it's not happening as much as initially feared? And that will lead them to figure out whether they want to cut in September and they want to keep cutting. I would say the other thing that's changed lately is that the job market has shown weakness, which may ultimately lead to, this is why the market is more confident about the Fed cut. Jobless claims, though, very solid again. I mean, for last week, claims at 224, that was below the consensus. Continuing claims, which is sort of a proxy for people continuing to receive benefits, it's still elevated. So that's a sign that it's harder to go out there and find work. But in terms of weekly layoffs, right? If companies were really panicked about their cost structure and about tariffs and about what it's going to mean for the economy, they would just be laying off more workers. That's what we typically see in a downturn, and we're just not seeing it.
Right now, the thread is that government data is sort of in doubt. Private data is ascendant. Do we think the Challenger is a better picture of the labor market than BLS and claims?
I mean, I don't think that we're there yet, you know, in terms of the importance, but...
Because Challenger's giving us biggest layoff run since COVID.
Yeah, look, it's all part of... We have to add... The Fed should add all of the components that it gets. Those surveys, they kind of typically weigh things like Challenger very high. They weigh the jobless claim, they weigh the unemployment rate. I mean, Fed Chair Powell told us that he's watching the unemployment rate, even with some of the doubts lately about the reliability of it or the politicization of it. I don't think he'd be in that camp.
All right.
I think that, you know, they're not super reliable because of revisions, but that's been sort of constant with the BLS. So the bottom line is unemployment rate is still low, but the last jobs report did show us some cracks in the labor market. The good news is we'll get more numbers before the Fed's next meeting. And interestingly, we get CPI and PPI the week before the Fed meeting, September 17th, during the blackout period. So if there's more progress on inflation or if there's lack of progress on inflation, it'll be hard to get an instant reaction.
And Besson kind of pointed to that this morning when he said that August and September will be a good test for tariff revenue. He also said that tariff revenue alone might be enough to bring the deficit ratio back to 5, let's say, which would be great.
I mean, right, that's what I've been saying. Is like there's an added benefit here to the tariffs as long as we don't have a super spike.
It's just not showing up in the monthly deficit.
Not yet. I mean, we're still talking with rates about $159 billion year to date in tariff revenue. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the deficit, but it's going to add up if we continue to see these kind of numbers. I mean, then the CBO itself forecast if we, you know, trillions of dollars over the coming years if we continue to see high tariff rates. The question is just how companies deal.
Yeah, we have to Tradeify.
This morning, talking tariffs, we are working with our vendor partners to effectively manage the tariff-related cost increases while thoughtfully adjusting retail prices in response to market dynamics. We anticipate that tariffs will have a more pronounced impact in the second half of the year. So that's one argument, right, that we just haven't seen the bulk of it. Bergenstock, which did raise prices as a result of tariffs, said we saw no pushback or cancellation following the July 1st price increases implemented in response to tariffs. Companies are figuring it out. They're taking hits. We saw that in Tapestry. I'll get to that a little bit later.
RL today.
RL, yep. I mean, like, these are companies that are actually doing really well. But the tariffs are real, and they're having an impact, especially for retail when you're producing all over the world.
All right. Let's talk more about what this means for your portfolio today. Lizanne Saunders joins us. Charles Schwab, Chief Investment Strategist, joins us this morning. Lizanne, good morning. Great to have you back.
Thanks for having me, Carl. Nice to see you guys.
Do you trust these PPI numbers so far?
I don't think there's any reason not to trust them. I think these days, any inflation data, and I would actually spread that to labor market data, I think that the details are at least as important as the headline, and we're in that mode where I think you really have to dig inside the details. The portfolio management fee piece of it, which does map to the Fed's preferred measure of PCE, unless we continue a melt up at the same pace as what we've seen in the past couple of months, that will start to ease in terms of providing that upward pressure. But to the point of the conversation you guys were just having prior and some of the things that Sarah said, what we have to be mindful of is the possibility, maybe not likelihood, but possibility that what we're starting to see in producer prices ultimately to a greater degree it gets passed on to consumer prices.
Right. What do you think explains the action in PPI services? Is it just a notion that if we are subject to any kind of tariff-related inflationary pressure, that everyone will use it as an excuse to raise prices even if they're not exposed?
Well, you actually, Carl, are hearing that from some companies.
Get me out.
Companies that are impacted by tariffs, but not necessarily across all the product lines. Many companies have said we are likely to pass on higher prices beyond just those goods or inputs that have tariffs associated with them.
If not, I'm gonna let it blow.
Companies, and they tend to be
just one AQ. I haven't had
spectrum,
anything yet.
that said they would take advantage of an environment allowing them to increase prices, even if they're not directly impacted by tariffs. But I think every company is trying to figure this out. You know, this whole narrative around the impact on inflation being one time in nature, a price level reset. The problem is that tariffs, their implementation when they kicked in has not been one time in nature. It has been, you know, on and off and back and forth. So just by virtue of that definition, we're unlikely to see that one-time impact. This is going to be an ongoing process, each individual company figuring out what, if anything, they're going to eat in their margins and what they can pass on.
I mean, here's the thing. The market is at a record high and is brushing a lot of this off. Whether it's going to hit the margins on earnings, whether it's going to hit consumer price inflation or wholesale inflation, or the market is glass half full about tariffs right now. Is that right or wrong?
Well, it is at the index level, but it's driven by the mega cap names' contribution given their size. If you look at participation under the surface, you saw a nice pop from a breadth statistics standpoint yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you were kind of in middling territory in terms of the percentage of stocks trading above 50-day moving averages, 200-day moving averages. If you look at participation, you know, tech, which has been a leadership area, notwithstanding
I want to short my funded if it keep doing that.
of stocks
Try to short later.
trading above 50-day moving averages. You only have about a third of stocks that within the S&P 500 that have outperformed the index itself over the past 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So I think what we're seeing is similar to what we've seen quite a few times in the last couple of years, sort of churn and rotation under the surface, and that under the surface activity may be more reflective of some of these tariff-related concerns, fundamental-related concerns. You just have this concentration impact that means you get the sort of the index gets flattered by virtue of the narrowness into the mega cap names.
Right. On that front, how healthy do you think
at 34? Oh.
Is it sort of about Fed cut vaporware? We've had some instances in the last year where you got a little squeeze on the Russell and then kind of had to pay for it.
Yeah, that's.
You
might have to hold on for a long time.
Short-term correlated to expectations around Fed policy would be an index like the Russell 2000. You certainly saw that reflected yesterday, and frankly, seeing that reflected again today. Because the interesting thing that happened in the aftermath of the PPI being reported,
my fund at all.
see the needle move much.
Wait, you and your son are trading on there?
Point cut. What shifted was a move from maybe I don't know 6 or 7% expectation for a 50 basis point cut yesterday. That's now been wiped off the table, and that percentage has kind of moved back into the flat. Fed isn't going to do anything camp. But I think yesterday was an example of a day where, because expectations were very high that the Fed would start to move, and they probably still are in September, that provided some lift to small caps.
If I get out, I'll start the Tradeify thing if I can get out.
That is some combination of not profitable and or zombie companies, meaning they don't have sufficient cash flow to pay.
Yeah, the 895. I only have 2 accounts there. Everything else is flat.
Plague impacting at least some of the Russell 2000.
So do you like the?
Not yet. I think it's at 11, right?
What would be your advice to folks with index levels, as you say, at record highs?
Oh.
Distorted a little bit by big time.
That's not on my
I think that
TV.
there's opportunities outside the mega cap names. In fact, you're seeing that in performance. If you look at the 10 best performers in the S&P 500, none of them are in the Magnificent Seven. If you look at the 10 best performers in the NASDAQ, they're all small to mid cap stocks. They're not the mega cap names. That suggested that there are opportunities outside those sort of high-profile mega cap names. I think the way to find them, especially within the sea of small caps, inclusive of really low quality
Way to
names,
jinx it.
is to stay up in quality. When you've got that 40% that are zombie companies or non-profitable companies, don't lean into that non-profitable
Okay, I'm used to
trade.
bag holding for hours.
Baskets
It's
have
okay.
done well off the early April lows, but I would say fade the low quality aspects to this rally and lean into higher quality. That's where you tend to get some ballast, especially if you go through another period of pullback or volatility. You may not
Are you
get
green today?
most of the upside if the market continues to move higher,
Nice.
but you have a little bit of that protection by virtue of staying up in quality. So that's
Wait, are you not touching that day trader? That's the straight to funding one. Yeah, get
Yeah. Sometimes they say play the components and not the index. It's going to get really interesting going into tomorrow too.
make sure you read the stuff. I think you need certain amount per day to count as one day.
Here into the trading session. Here are three big movers we're watching. Deer shares under pressure as their earnings call.
No,
gets
that's
underway.
ETF.
Trimming full year guidance, citing a cautious consumer. Stocks down more than 6.5%. Bitcoin
ETF, we
under
only
pressure,
buy the
earning
cheap
an
one and
all-time high,
yo
more
one.
than $124,000 check out the move in cashback company Ibotta, plunging on the heels of a revenue miss and guidance cut. We should note the market cap is only around $600 million. Wasn't there, because I remember talking to them
They've
after
come
the
on since the IPO.
many times.
Everybody tweeting that one kid's what is it? ETF drama on Twitter. Like everybody retweeting it. Because he's DMing everybody. He sent me a DM too. Well, that didn't steal his money. It's on live. He's going live. He just gotta make it on live.
That's a big hour strong for the street continues.
Things personalized, like my coffee. So when my doctor prescribed Vyvgart Hytrulo injection for my generalized myasthenia gravis, we personalized my treatment goals. Vyvgart Hytrulo can improve daily abilities and reduce muscle weakness.
It's my treatment, my way.
Vyvgart Hytrulo for weekend away Steve.
It's travel ready and can go where I go.
Self-injection fits my plans. Do not use Vyvgart Hytrulo if you're allergic to
Yeah,
its
you don't want to spend too much there.
This infection risk can cause serious allergic or infusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. Most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
Yeah, you can milk them, and then Phidias you can milk them too, because they'll send you to live.
Treatment? Just about Vyvgart Hytrulo. When life calls.
Don't know Newman's about to be on there soon. He got sent live. But I think you're right though. They don't hold your cash. Yeah.
Inventory remains unaffected by new tariffs.
That's why we only gamble $26, so we ain't got a bitch. I would never spend like $1,000 over there. Yeah, it might go back up now. There, you're green now.
To Major League ballparks, ESPN Experiences takes you behind the scenes and inside the action. Next up, the Travelers Championship. Your all-access pass starts here.
As you might know by now, July PPI came in hotter than expected. Many Fed officials prior to the print were on the fence about a rate cut in September.
Yeah, short. No, I'm not gonna short.
Steve Leisman's here post this morning. St. Louis Fed President.
I need to touch my funded one.
Pleased to be joined by
President Musal.
No, I haven't touched my pro yet.
Thanks for joining us, President Musal.
Good morning, Steve. Great to be with you. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Carl.
So it's too bad we don't have all that much to talk about. Let's begin with, I think, a very simple question that you might have expected, but just give us your view, how you put in context the inflation situation, given that over the past 2 days, we've had the CPI report and the PPI report. How much concern or lack of concern do you have now with the inflation picture as it stands, as we know it?
It seems to me that looking at both reports, inflation is running around 3%, close to 3%. When we look at the PPI core, the PCE core or the CPI, that's 3.1. And I've seen some private estimates of a potential PC at 2.9 given today's PPI.
Sup, cuz?
CPI release. So that tells me inflation is running at about 3% or very close to 3%, which is about 1% higher than our 2% target.
Are you agreeing?
Now, tariffs are feeding through. Companies told us that it would take about 3 to 6 months to pass on costs. Once they felt the costs, we're right around that 3-month mark. July date is 3 months after April. I expect the impact of tariffs, most of the impact of tariffs on inflation to fade after 2 to 3 quarters. So in 2 to 3 quarters time.
Oh, I've done that. It sucks.
Possibility that they could be more persistent.
What's the right stance of policy given how you set out those probabilities? There are obviously some people on the FOMC who are
That's the one that fast to pay on anyway.
right now because they have a higher degree of
Nice.
Others are a little more concerned that they're not ready to take that chance. Where do you stand in that regard?
So we have a dual mandate, as you know. We have to look at both sides of the mandate. So inflation, price stability, and employment. We need to make sure the labor market
He does radio now?
remains strong and at full employment. So how I'm thinking of policy, and I've been saying this since February of this year, when we see tension between our two mandated goals, we need to follow a balanced approach, which is to think about 3 things: the probability of a miss on employment versus the miss on inflation, the potential size of the miss on each side of the mandate, and the potential duration of the miss on each side
No
of the
clue.
mandate. So I'm weighing both things. I'm weighing both the fact that inflation is 1% above our target, with the fact that we have a labor market which is at full employment, but there are risks to the downside also.
I don't want to seem like I'm too focused on the inflation mandate. Let's talk about that employment mandate. Again, I'm hearing different things from different members of the committee. I've heard words like solid ascribed to the jobs report. I've
Isn't
heard
it
other
long?
words like weakening ascribed to the jobs report. I think both of those can be true at the same time. However, there are some people that are looking at the level of payrolls, which has been flat to down, and there are some who are looking at the ratios like the unemployment rate. Can you explain to us how you look at it, what conclusion you come to, weakening, solid, somewhere in between?
So I see the labor market as stable.
Should have taken profit, man.
4.2%.
Alright, let me
which
set
is
up this Tradeify thing.
Low by historical averages. We have a ratio of vacancies to persons unemployed, which is above 1, meaning there is more than 1 vacancy, slightly more than 1 vacancy for each person unemployed and looking for a job. We have the transition rates from employed to employed are consistent with a full employment labor market, and the employment cost index is consistent with a full employment labor market. Now, there are some signs of weakening. Payroll growth has been low. There were very large revisions, as you know.
Yo, Gambit, get your tickets on YouTube.
The demand for labor,
Just for the Tradeify 50K. The good one.
looking at levels may be less informative, that is levels of payrolls, than looking at ratios. And that's why I'm looking both at levels and at ratios. You may recall that last year we had a break-even pace of employment that was north of 150. This year, with lower immigration flows, it's reasonable to expect that break-even rate to be sub 50. And in fact, in spite of historic revisions, these were 3 standard deviation revisions, which you should expect once every 2 to 3 decades. In spite of those revisions to the level of employment, the unemployment rate stayed unrevised, which tells me that the supply of labor also declined, or cooled, let's say that.
President Masalam and Sarah, so I'm trying to parse all of your words and your views on the labor market and on inflation. And I know we have a month till the next meeting, and you don't want to pre-commit to anything, but right now, are you leaning toward cutting in September? Because the market's pretty confident that that's what you guys are going to do.
So Sarah, I take each meeting at a time, this meeting by meeting approach, and I bring a very open mind and a pragmatic mindset. I try to be as forward-looking as possible. Over the last 2 months, I've been revising my assessment of potential weakness to the labor market.
I know, I told you. No, they don't believe me.
Assessment
Come on, Google.
of inflation slightly lower. I don't want to, as you said, prejudge the meeting because I feel
Don't forget, get your points, Chris. Don't forget.
Continue to update my outlook and balance of risks with new information, data, and otherwise that will happen between now and the meeting. In fact, I find myself updating my outlook even on the day of the meeting someday. So
you don't need points on if you're on Discord, so it's fine.
Say exactly what policy I will be able to support.
I'm gonna see which one should I do. You did? Let me check.
On the dual mandate and a balanced approach to it.
But it sounds like, and you just said it, you're a little more worried about jobs than you are about inflation at this point in time, as far as the outlook.
No, I'm thinking about both at the same time. I see risks. Although not my base case, I see risks that inflation could be more persistent.
Working, I think.
We're only 3 months into the tariff imposition period, so the data is beginning to give us some indication as to whether the possibility of more persistent inflation is there. And at the same time, we have an economy on the labor market side
Test
that
this
is growing at around
thing
1%.
out.
Slightly
Okay, it's pretty
1%
cute.
Expected by private forecasters for the second half. So that poses downside risks for the labor market. And
Yeah,
also we have
Bugatti.
pressures on some company margins. For example, the CPI was relatively well behaved except for the core, but the PPI came in high, so that suggests possibly some margin pressures. So slower growth and potentially margin pressures suggest some downside risk to the labor market. Now,
Get your raffle tickets in, Isma.
We're in constant contact with businesses in our districts and around the country, and I'm not hearing from businesses that they are about to begin to lay off workers.
President Masalam, I'm curious to know how you and the committee, you think, are absorbing the administration's encouragement to cut. And if you're able to tune it out, how do you tune it out? How do you think it affects the color of the committee meeting?
So elected officials are entitled to have a view on monetary
Yeah,
policy,
it's just been chopping.
particularly when they are very learned on the economy. My job is to listen to Main Street and to listen to the people that I represent and the businesses that are in our districts. That takes a lot of effort and time. I do my job also as tracking the economy in all its aspects. This is a $30 trillion economy, which is very complex with many moving parts. And that those two things occupy 120% of my time. I should say that central bank independence is very important. It's very important because it leads to better economic outcomes, so lower and more stable inflation and higher, more stable employment. And it must come with accountability, which is accountability to Congress and elected officials and the people they represent through our dual mandate, which is current law.
Albert, I want to pick up on what Sarah was asking. I think people need to know that one of the great strengths you
Order
bring to the
submitted.
FOMC and to your job is your prior experience in financial markets. And
Order filled.
what I
Order
appreciate about,
submitted.
watching your speeches and talking is you boil stuff down to the thing that really matters. You started this interview by making the observation, inflation is running at 3, our target is at 2. What is at stake here for
Order canceled.
cutting when inflation is at 3 and your target is at 2?
Any other news coming up today? No.
Things. You have to balance the labor market side and the inflation side of the mandate. I think what I said is inflation is running closer to 3 than to 2%.
So we 12 o'clock my time.
That's certainly something that is always in the back of my mind. At the same time, I look at the unemployment rate, and I look at the labor market, and I see some potential downside risks. And it's about thinking of a policy path that balances those two things. For example, if we were to weigh the labor market side of the mandate more and reduce rates aggressively, that may de-anchor inflation expectations, that may build term premia into the yield curve, that may steepen the yield curve, that may be counterproductive for borrowers in the economy.
Just short it, do it. Join me, short.
Etc. So that's a situation we should try to avoid. On the other side, if we only weigh the inflation side of the mandate, we may do unnecessary harm.
I'm gonna stop out on eval. Come on.
So it's a balancing act, and that balancing act is possible if inflation expectations remain anchored. So I'm always looking at what those are doing.
We're almost out of time. Just very quickly, can you give us an idea over a course of time what you might look at? Is there is it the concern that tariff price increases are becoming inflation in other areas? And if you're not seeing that, does that make you comfortable to cut? Is there some particular metric that works for you?
So I'm looking at how what we hear from companies is companies that are close to the importer are passing on almost everything. Companies that are closer to the consumer are having an inability to pass through, and there are many stories in between. And so this burden is being shared by exporters, importers, consumers, intermediate goods. So what I look for is first round effects, direct effects.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Effects on
Wow.
services and potentially
Order filled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
On for goods and services. We've had some
Order
higher services
submitted.
inflation, which is unusual. I would have expected that to happen after an increase in inflation for goods prices. So my sense is, again, companies told us it would take 3 to 6 months after impact.
3 minutes. Still
Right
got room.
Order filled. Order submitted.
I think it's going to take another
Order canceled.
repairs to play through.
Order submitted.
I expect most of the impact to fade over time, but there is a reasonable probability that there may be some persistence, and we need to get a better fix on that, understanding we can't wait 2 years to do that, but a little bit more data would be helpful.
Is 50 basis point cut even in the realm of possibilities?
Ooh, I average down now. I need 931 again.
Order canceled.
Oh no.
From my perspective, it's unsupported by the current state of the
Yeah.
economy and the outlook for the economy.
Order submitted.
I didn't mean to average down this early.
St. Louis, I think the FAA storms yesterday, but thank you very much. We hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, and look forward to next time.
Yeah, private plane guys. I would have been there.
No, you wouldn't. The weather's
That's true. That's true. We've been in private folks all the time.
24,000 coming up for sure.
As we go to break, check out some of the biggest laggards on the S&P this morning. Tapestry, right at the top there, although off the opening lows. We've got exclusive comments from the CEO breaking down the quarter, sending shares to the bottom of the S&P this morning. And then moments away, a deep dive on the latest new debut here at the NYSE. It's exchange operator Miami International. The CEO is here ahead of the first trade, indicated right now 27 to 29.
And went back down. I gotta touch these pros.
Plant-based, healthy blood pressure support.
It got 19 minutes left. Are you leaving? 7:45.
Crypto staking just hit Wall Street. For the first time ever, staking rewards are available through a US listed ETF.
Well, in 5 minutes, I'll close it and then we'll start to raise. Got 53 tickets ready, so that's good enough. Tradeify 50K, what is that? The growth one. That one has free activations. That was a good one.
Distributed by Foresight Fund Services.
Goldilocks needs a place of her own. Fast. Thankfully, she's on Redfin. They update their listings every 2 minutes. And with so many options, she's bound to find exactly what she wants.
This one's just right.
Yeah.
Order canceled. Order submitted.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take
I mean, you can if you wanted to, but you don't want to. I've done it when I was in Vegas.
She called her? Oh, yeah, she sold the twins naming rights.
Same time as Cali.
Not as absurd as you think.
We just signed the lease on our third shop. My assistant went to customink.com to get new uniforms with all the locations. He found great products, uploaded new art, and had boxes sent to all the shops.
For real.
Makes it so easy. Get started today at customink.com.
Mountain, you still short with me? We're gonna blow our account, buddy. Mount always short. I don't know why. He hates Trump. Oh, get me out. Get me out.
Weekdays 5 a.m. Eastern and streaming on CNBC Plus. Don't miss a members-only event.
Maybe. Let me get this started. 57 tickets good enough. $9.80, yeah, it did. At least on M&Q it did, yeah. Let me put the names in. We're about to start this race.
As we continue to chip away at some of the open losses, let's get a news update with Silvana now. Hey, Silvana.
Carl, good morning. The White House says President Trump and his Russian counterpart.
SK, you came in just in time. That's... What, Ham is in it now? Okay. I'm closing it now. Okay, it's closed.
Two planes to Spain today to help tackle raging wildfires in the country that have already killed
3 minutes on this race.
Thousands have been evacuated from their homes as crews work to control the flames there and in other parts of southern Europe, including Greece and Portugal. And the FBI says it
Alright, good luck, guys.
16th century manuscript signed by Spanish conquistador.
Yeah, Chris wanted the penguin. I don't know. Oh my god, it going so slow. I see you, Mugo. I see you, homie. Holy shit, that's so slow. Who picked this? Chris? Fuck you, Chris. Oh, look at Spicy. Look at you. I thought Penguin are faster than that. You think at the end it's gonna speed up? Oh, Ty's winning. He's way ahead. Yeah, Wiggles coming back up. Oh, the whole gang's coming up. Oh, Ty just sat there. What the hell? He took a nap. No, Ty's gone. He's on the bottom now. Bye, Ty. No way, Muga's gonna win. Oh, SK's coming. Come on, SK, you need a win. It's been so long for you. Nope, SK's tired.
Jason, your fire department. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart.
That's funny. Yeah, I think someone's gonna run the last 5 seconds. Oh, fuck. That shit went short. Oh my. You won, man. He won fair and square. Yeah, he is. I'll get you the Coven. Yeah, he's bit. You didn't know that? Let me see if I can short. Okay, it's near the top now. I'm gonna. It was 89. Oh, I'll short at 90 on my pro.
Order submitted.
Visit your local Cadillac dealer today. Order filled.
Yeah.
Watching shares of bullish this morning after that monster debut yesterday, gaining again today after opening up 143% above the IPO price yesterday, eventually closing up nearly 84% above. It's the latest IPO to soar in the first day of trading and one of several surrounding the crypto blockchain space.
Absolutely, and it's not just crypto blockchain. Another name going public today, Miami International Holdings, otherwise referred to as MIAX, a U.S. exchange operator that owns 9 exchanges globally across options, equities, and futures markets. Chairman and CEO Tom Gallagher joins us now at Post 9 after ringing the opening bell. Welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Big day for you. For those that don't know, Miami Exchange, it's a fairly new company, a new exchange, and you've taken some market share here, especially in options.
Yes, we have. We've grown 1,000 basis points of market share in the last 9 years since Q1 2016. And really what's got us here is the technology that we built. I like to say we built the church for Easter Sunday. And when that volatility came in March of 2020 as a result of the pandemic, our technology really differentiated us. And from that point forward, we've continued to have some really great growth.
Is that your edge? I mean, what is
Man
your
looks kind of gay at the finish line.
Stock exchange?
I think our edge is, first, it's technology, and second, it's the relationships we develop with our major consolidators, firms like Citadel, firms like Susquehanna, firms like Wolverine Trading, firms like Interactive Brokers, IMC Optima. They really have come to
What reaction?
experience our technology. It took a while to get here. Our first strategy was to develop
Oh.
market share. If you don't get to be 5, 6, 7% in a stock, no one's going to come to you. So over the last 15 years, we differentiated ourselves with our technology, and we did an equity rights program. So today, about 20% of our stock is owned by our market participants.
You launched in 2012.
Okay, the only thing I left on the Tradeify is straight to funding. I'll probably do that next week
But what did you see?
or tomorrow.
Why did you think the environment was right to take share to begin with back then?
Well, I thought the options business was going to be an area where there would be explosive growth. It wasn't that mature back then in 28 and 29. My timing wasn't
I'm still
I
sure.
started on this journey.
Oh, man, you don't want it? You sure?
You can imagine what happened. We had some investors from overseas.
Let's go back on a race. Let's get back on a race.
To build this team from scratch, led by technology and customer service. And that's been a big
Yeah, that's nice, man. He's made a lot of money. He doesn't want it. What the fuck are you even drawing up?
Not to make a lot of money, but to prevent yourself from having a loss. So
consistency never really varies in times of tremendous volatility in the marketplace, and our customers.
Yeah, I am. I gotta pick something else.
So low fees, no fees, equity rights programs got people in the door, but what's keeping them here today, Sarah, is the experience. The technology is the differentiator. Low latency, great throughput, and something called determinism. When someone's order hits the edge of our network,
Let's do some robots.
instances, as long as you're 8 billionths of a second behind the next guy, you go right to the matching engine in the order that you got to the house. Not too many other exchanges can say that.
Well, you've been growing. I mean, double digits revenue growth.
Oh shoot! I said she came in just in time. Van doesn't want his winning, so he's gonna give it out. So we're gonna do the race again. No, I think I still have it. Maybe we have to. Let me see. No, I still got the names. I'll add you on to ISIS.
So we're going to ring the bell September 12th, and I'm really excited about the floor brokers.
Yeah, YouTube.
And also the market.
Yeah.
That's a big area of
Van won, but he made too much payout, so he doesn't want to take it.
With what's happening globally in the pandemic,
He has a good heart.
Retail growth is explosive.
You kept it private for a long time, right? Yes, I did. And would you prefer to even extend that longer, but the window's just too good?
Yeah, I think this is a really good time. I asked a lot of the investors. we spoke to over 400.
Alright, about to start again.
And I asked them, are we too early? Do we need to finish more of the project? And they said, Tom,
Yeah.
the team you built, the culture
Did
you
you type in your
built,
tickets?
and the net revenue growth, I think we could use your technology and financial future. So with this additional capital, I'm really excited about launching a new suite of products. By the way, I forgot to mention, Sarah, we signed a 10-year agreement with Bloomberg. So we're launching a...
Yeah, your name should be on there if you typed it in.
With Bloomberg. So we're very excited about that.
Alright, we're about to start. Oh, did I put your name on there? Yeah, no, you can't win again. About to start. I forgot to remove train. Van is still in there. Oh, my IQ is almost 24,000. Wow. Oh, Doc. Julius is coming up. Wow. I know who Julius is. Where are you, Gambit? Whoa, look at that guy. These bots are fast. Chris is way at the bottom. I see Zoe going up. Nope. Top G. Bye. Man, Van made $5 grand on a 25K Ow. On a 25K. It's gonna win. Samsung. Oh. Nope. Nope.
One is the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent.
I love Scott, but he wants to stay where he is.
Samsung is.
Very, very little business with India because his
I think.
average is so high. So
Oh no. I know he is. Bye.
Consumer discretionary, one of the worst performing sectors this year, just about flat since January. One of the big drags today on the overall market, and that sector is Tapestry, parent company of brands like Coach and Kate Spade, falling after new numbers there. And despite earnings and revenue that beat expectations, the story here is the profitability hit from tariffs. I caught up with the CEO, Joanne Kerboyserat, about the quarter, and here are some of her key takeaways and headlines. First of all, on the strength of the brand Coach in particular, she said it's outperforming and continuing to outperform well ahead of the industry. They're seeing double-digit growth there. She also said that it's continued into this first quarter, and business is even better in Q1. So despite some of the
I think so,
industry
yeah.
warning about the
Yeah,
consumer
Sam,
weakness,
yeah.
they're actually seeing a lot of strength. On the outlook they put out, she said the story is we're continuing to grow. We see revenue growth and margin growth. We believe prior to COVID, they're adding, a lot of new customers with Gen Z. They thought it was a very
Yeah, he did.
laser focused on a timeless Gen Z customer. And in fact, she told me that in the fourth quarter, they acquired 1 million new customers to Coach. 70% of those were actually.
Alright, Samsung, I have to add you to the ban list. You can't win anymore. Tomorrow might be a good one. It might be a straight to funded Tradeify.
Strategically, nothing changes, but
Okay, added him in.
but the cost structure has clearly changed. They put a price around that. They said $160
SK,
million.
you have bad luck, dude. Long? Oh, I just got out my other short.
Positioned to make the adjustments because our brand is really resonating with consumers right now. But obviously, there's going to be a hit, and I think.
Congrats, Samson.
This is a stock that is still up 51% year to date, and more than doubled over the last 12 months. So potentially some opportunity for profit taking. But the tone, I spoke to Joanne and her CFO Scott, and they were very bullish on what they're seeing, despite the fact that they have to deal with these tariff headwinds on profit.
They're generally considered a pretty savvy operator in general in the retail space.
Order filled. Well, they've really turned around the Coach brand since COVID, and I think they have brand heat right now. They have this bag that Sarah Jessica Parker wore, and just like that, and you can't get it. You have to put a note
Next month. Yeah, it's only one win per YouTube, and then one per Twitter, and then one per Discord. So you get 3. You can win 3, times, but yeah, you're done on YouTube.
Investors are making their first reveal since tariffs were announced.
But we got a lot of the cash giveaway tomorrow on Discord. I think $100 tomorrow, and then Monday Doc got $100 gave me, so yeah. They may pay out and then they donate and then we give back. Bye, buddy. I need to start trading now.
With irresistibly touchable skin.
Crypto staking should save Wall Street.
Dang, you did good, Gambit. Only got $20-something. Deep red on the 150. Wait, so you can get 1,000 now, right? It's only 500. My bad. Keep thinking it's 4,000. Yeah, that's good.
Where's that fun services?
This is my coffee shop. We just moved into a bigger space, brought on another employee,
Yeah.
and ordered new branded gear for the team. It was so easy. I just chose my products, added our logo, and placed my order. Bring your own team together with custom gear. Get started today at custommate.com.
The digital gold that is data has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work. We're going to keep getting better server clients.
Yeah, and numbers. It's just all that one just all luck.
Invest differently. It's not just about stocks and bonds, but also real estate, classic cars, and fine art.
Get the weekly newsletter at
Order submitted.
cnbc.com/ins.
Baccarat. Baccarat.
The $7,500 federal tax credit for eligible electric vehicles is ending. Must take delivery by September 30th, 2025. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
Yeah.
Order submitted.
Luckily, you rented your car on Turo.
I'm sorry. I was on the chat. Later, bud.